There we are. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? I hope everyone's excited for a little excursion into the north. The actual north. Sorry, Susie. Hi, this is the cards game. Yay! I'm so happy that it's actually happening. I'm Lydia. I'm your GM today. I'm half-arsed hermit all over, and I'm now regretting choosing that very unprofessional Twitter handle, but here we are. And these are my lovely folks today, joining me as the Guard of Eden. Hopefully reliable, punctual, good and righteous. All right, that's a lot of head shaking there. I am... Yeah, smile. Please, smile. Just lie to me. Let's just do a quick introduction round, who we're going to play, who we are, and we're going to start with Jesse. Who are you? Who's your ginger, little glorious wizard boy?
Hello. He is ginger. He's not the ultimate ginger. That title remains reserved for Vincent van Gogh, but he is very ginger. I'm going to be playing William, a School of Illusion wizard. With the urban bounty hunter background. A little bit of shenanigans, some misadventures, a lot of fun. Sweet.
And we're moving over to Dorcas. Anna, who are you? What are you? Why are you?
That is the ultimate question. Hi, everybody. My name is Anna, and I'm going to be playing Dorcas. She is a half-orc, half-elf paladin who has taken an oath of devotion.
Devoted to?
Oh, yes, sorry. Devoted to Bruce, who is this heroic demigod who wields a great battle axe. But really, mostly she's just devoted to healing and helping people out.
Actual good girl Dorcas. Actual good person.
Dorcas is baby.
Dorcas is bae. Well, moving over to another hopefully good person. We'll find out. Duncan, clerics are good, right?
Yes, I'm playing Shepherd Duncan. I'm Tom TP Grant. He is a follower of the Lightbringer. He is a little old to be joined the Guard. Push in his early 40s and joined up is still part of the Church of the Lightbringer, but also looking to do a little bit of good. Seems to be wearing some armor underneath his monk's clothes, a little more blades than you'd normally associate with a priest. Yeah, he's taken a liking to the group he's found. He's taken them under his wing a little bit.
And last but certainly not least, Nat. Who are you? Who's your orange boy?
Hi, I'm Nat. I'm going to be playing Mork today. Mork is a hobgoblin enchantment wizard who's just trying to do his best, really. But he has cripplingly low self-esteem, so we'll see how well that works out.
Aww. Well, that's our gang today. Hopefully they will be able to solve a couple of cases. And the game is D&D 5e, of course. We will have a couple of combats in there, but it's very RP focused, very narrative focused, so you will hear a lot from these four people. And the world is homebrew. As I'm sure you've noticed, some of the gods don't really appear in the official books. That's because everything today is based on Scottish history. I am Austrian, but living in Scotland, so the accent is all over the place, but I'm quite familiar with Scottish history working as a tour guide, and there's a metric ton of Easter eggs, historical Easter eggs in the game, so feel free to shout them out if something sounds familiar, if you're a little bit of a history buff yourself, and go haywild and chat and go, I know this person, and I'm sure some of you will probably recognize the Bruce. Sorry, England, we won that war. We lost every other, but that's, of course, the Bruce has to make an appearance in a Scottish history themed, slightly Pratchettian magic themed city of Eden, which is Edinburgh. I'm not even going to try and deny that. If George Martin can steal from British history, so can I. But that's what you also see in the maps, the images Charlie used in this bloody amazing trailer. All of those are actual historical illustrations from the city of Eden, from Edinburgh itself. The maps, the trailers will appear every now and then. You will see that our group is rolling on Fantasy Grounds, which is one of our sponsors during this season. Super helpful for your D&D games, for your characters, for your rolling, for your maps, everything you need. Check it out, it's actually super helpful. Plenty of helpful people, though, in the RPG world making our fun so much easier, from Wormwood, which Charlie mentioned it during the tunnel, which is also helping us with a little bit of a shipping code discount. And there's information in chat if you want to find out more about that. And of course, World Anvil, for all your world building purposes, especially if you have something homebrew like the City of Eden. Check them out as well. You also get 20% off of your 6 and 12 month subscriptions with our Encounter RP code, or you can just give it a quick go for free. But you know what? Past Charlie has a couple more things to say about our lovely sponsors. So I'm going to hand over to Past Charlie for that information.
Before we begin today's show, I would like to take some time to remind you about our sponsors. Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice. All of the beautiful maps and roles you see tonight are done using Fantasy Grounds, which you can try for free at fantasygrounds.com. You can also get all of your miniatures from Wayland Games. Go to waylandgames.co.uk and get yourself a huge range of D&D, Warhammer and 40k minis for up to 20% off regular retail price. And Tabletop Loot, who sell incredible dice. Go and check them out at tabletoploot.com.
Well, we begin our tale in the City of Eden, which is a big, bustling place full of, well, that depends on who you ask, really. If you ask the High Council up in Eden's Keep, the very large fortress that rests in the center of town on top of its craggy throne, well, they will tell you that Eden's people are hardworking, well-meaning, if sometimes a little bit misguided, very ambitious, and ultimately kind folks. That it takes all sorts, and that all sorts are welcome. The more sorts, the more taxes, after all, and that surely can only be a good thing. Ask the nobles and advocates in the new borough to the north, and they will not so subtly glance at the state of your shoes and the cleanliness of your fingernails, and if very adventurous, they will give you a quick sniff over to determine whether the person asking is even worth their time. But ask the merchants in the old borough, putting up their stalls and taking their carts up High Street to the market, and somehow 2 minutes later you will have bought 2 mackerels, a bucket of oysters, and a tartan scarf. The softest wool you'll have ever touched, madam, coming from a flock of special sheep guarded by a red dragon down south, yes? You're not quite sure how to explain to your spouse that you just spent 2 gold pieces on a scarf, but at least dinner's taken care of, I guess. Ask the urchins in Eden's Westport, and, well, they will stab you, maybe skip the Westport. But you could also ask the Eden Guard. After all, they should know their citizen best, right? They should know what sort of folks are running around in Eden, where they hide, where they linger, where they stalk. There's always new guardsmen and guardswomen welcome. For example, Mork, you want to join the City Guard, don't you? Can you tell us a little bit more about why you would want to become one of ours?
Well, I just got into town for the first time after some travel, and I've always wanted to help people, and this made me feel like I could do something that mattered, at least a little bit. So, I hope that's okay. I'm allowed to apply to be a guard, right?
Yes, absolutely. This is just the first interview, my dear. You can be absolutely frank with us.
Okay. Well, the people of Eden are, I think they're probably inherently good. I think most people are inherently good on the inside, if you dig down a few layers. So I just hope I can experience a little bit of that, because, where I came from, the people weren't so nice. And I hope that it's a little better here.
It says here on your CV that you were trained in a little bit of magic, yes?
Yeah. I would call myself a wizard. I even spent some time at an academy. Just a little bit of time though. I was having some trouble with some of the tests and stuff, and I didn't really feel comfortable asking for help. So I just tried really hard, but then it turned out I did it the wrong way. So when I tried to do the magic on the chicken, I did the wrong spell, and it caught on fire, and I was horribly embarrassed. But at least that embarrassment was kind of understated when the building caught fire. So they had other things to pay attention to, and not me. And that was that helped a little bit.
The building caught on fire.
I promise. I'll do better this time. You know, I know which incantations cause fire now, as opposed to just change the color of something to red. So I know the difference now. It'll be okay. I promise.
But okay, we'll make a note of that. How are you with paperwork?
Oh, I'm great at paperwork.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. That's great. That's good. I mean, good paperwork. That's noted. Yes. We really need people for paperwork. William. William.
Tallullah.
You're joining us now, huh? After the last incident, you know, the headless incident, finally trying to come to the right side of the law?
Well, I mean, sides feel a little, subjective. I wouldn't say there's a right side or a wrong side in this particular issue. I would say there was a side of innocent people, and there was a side of other people, and obviously I'm not in jail, so obviously I'm an upright, morally, importantly impeccable standing citizen.
That is certainly an answer, yes.
Mm-hmm.
How would you, in the future, make sure that some of the more questionable incidents don't get repeated?
I mean, besides just not telling you about them this time, it takes one to know one, and I don't know. I'll be honest. I'm a little hungover still. I'll do my best.
See, the worst part about this? You'll fit right in.
Is that
Sure.
good?
We'll find out together. Oh. Dorcas, I'm happy to see you actually decided to apply after all, after a little look around and your little familiarization visit. Are you enjoying yourself here?
Oh, yes, very much so far. I think this is going to be a much better fit than the League of Bruce and the Demon Slaying Guild and stuff like that. I think that my little shrub and I are going to be quite happy here, actually.
Oh my god, that shrub is adorable.
Thank you so much.
Does it move? It moves. Oh my god, it moves.
Yeah. At first when my mom brought it back for me, I definitely thought it was going to be a little bit more of a normal plant. Like, it moves, but very slowly. But no, I think it's alive. Alive.
It needs a name.
I think that I'm going to settle on Tilly for now, but we'll see. We'll see how well she grows into that.
Ha, grow. See what you did there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so just to come back on track, what's your general opinion of Eden and its good citizens?
Right, well, I've lived here my whole life, so it's home to me. I just think that most of the people in this city are doing the best that they can to just get by, but sometimes they need a little nudging in the right direction. Maybe they get lost and they, need to find their way to the market district, but they don't end up there and they just need somebody to help you give them some directions.
That's a very positive outlook. What do your parents think about you joining the Guard?
Well, my dad works for the Mages College, so I know that he's definitely more of the, academic type. I honestly think he's just glad that I decided not to go into the whole demon slaying thing, after the incident there with the battle testing ground. And my mom, it's been a while since I've seen her. She kind of just goes and wanders around in the forest sometimes, so I don't actually know what she thinks. I guess we'll find out when she comes back.
Please, never change. Never change. Now, Duncan, I hear you and see from all these recommendations of the clerics of Belinas that you've made great strides. You're a very respected member of their community. Why would you join the Guard?
Well, it seems to me in this town some have it easier than others, and Belinas brought fire to a world of darkness and to help those. And it seems that one who has found an easier life is obligated to help those who haven't yet reached it.
It's very altruistic. Some people say altruism as such doesn't really exist. People always have ulterior motives.
Well, I know what that's like. Some people have to do what they can, or do what they must, I should say, to get by. But like I said, those of us who have moved past that point in their life, we owe it to the community to help those move forward. And the Lightkeeper teaches us that all things are a cycle, fire and regrowth. And I hope very much to be part of many people's regrowth phase. But I can be the fire when it's required.
Oh, we've had another candidate who's might been a little bit eager on the fire side. And again.
Yes, I think I'm aware who you're speaking of.
Oh, you've met the other recruits?
Yes, we all went through training together. They seem like a fine lot. I think the one you're referring to, William, he seems like a good lad, but needs a little bit of guidance.
Wait, he also sets fire to things? How many more people do we have? Quick, Rivers, check the list again. For fire spells, I'm not gonna have another 1824.
I'll
Sorry
keep an
about
eye
that.
on him.
That would be much appreciated. Well, you will hear from us about our final decision of which recruits to accept soon enough. Thank you very much for your time. You've all eventually received your letter. After the interview, after the training, after the shadowing, after the other interview where Guard Captain Tallullah Thundertongue, who is a very stouty, very, very red-haired dwarf. William, you're almost getting a little bit of ginger envy there. She's ruling the Guard with a just but iron fist, and she likes to know her future employees. She likes to understand where they're coming from and be able to tell which one set which part of the city on fire, to stick with that, unfortunately not a metaphor. She's keeping an eye on you on most days of your training. She's instructing you, she's guiding you, she's helping you, she's scolding you. Again, looking at William. But eventually she's decided that, yeah, you know what? These four can make the cut. And you've all received your letters inviting you to your first official shift. The training wheels are off. You will no longer be shadowing some of the other guards. You are set to work in your first solo case. On your first solo case, you are on your way up the high street, past a couple of merchants, welcoming you with, when they see the little guard badge that is still so fresh and so clean on your armor or on your robes. They wave quite friendly, they say hi, they give you things. You're not quite sure if that's bribery yet, but it's, you know, it's just a little meat pie. It's just a little, whatever that is. Still, it looks like a pastry. Is it still moving? You're not quite sure, but hey. You reach the city guardhouse, which is a 2-story building in the middle of the high street, darkened wooden walls, wooden boards, and very small windows. There's never much light in there. You're not quite sure how people do paperwork in there, but somehow it always gets done, or swept under a rug. And as you reach the entrance door, you can already see everyone's favorite mascot, everyone's favorite guard member. A tiny little teapot pig well, a piglet really, that is wearing its own guard uniform. Sophie, the pig, is welcoming you with a very, very waggy, wrinkly tail, because, well, everyone who's coming to the guardhouse always brings a little bit of a treat for Sophie.
I'm going to bend down and give Sophie some of the food that someone handed us. Give her a
Little
little
meat
pat on the
pie.
head. Yeah. Just say,
Sophie is super happy.
hello, Sophie. You're going to keep an eye on the barracks for us while we're away, right?
She grunts, and there's some unsavory sounds coming from her as she digs her little face straight into that meat pie. Bits and pieces are flying all over. She is demolishing it properly, but she's super happy about it. You've made a friend.
Oh, that's a very good girl. I want to try and just give her some little scritches behind the ears.
You give her the scritches. It's not quite as good as the meat pie because, let's be honest, food always trumps scritches. But she will gracefully accept the scritches as she's eating. Are you? Oh, the new recruits are here. The new recruits are here. You hear the stammering voice of Jonathan Rivers. Jonathan Rivers is a very slight, very gaunt-looking older gentleman who you're not quite sure if the white hair is just coming from age or from the very simple fact that he's afraid of everything. He literally changed into this new job, which is the requisitions officer of the city guard, because he thinks it's safer than being an accountant. To be fair, being an accountant in the Westport is not a very safe thing. And being surrounded by armed guards, you can kind of get his reasoning, but he's still a nervous wreck on the best of days. You're 30 seconds late. Tallullah will be mad. Come in. And he beckons you inside. Now, do you need anything before your briefing?
I think we're fine, son. Just try to calm yourself down.
I am calm. This is. I've just had my morning tea. I'm calm. Should I not be calm? Is there something happening? Are you not telling me something?
No, calm is good. Calm is good. You know what would be better than calm, though, actually, is if you could do me one small errand, very easy, nice and relaxing. Take a little walk, a nice stroll, calm your nerves, down to the tavern, find me some whiskey, and then bring it back.
On your first shift, you're asking for whiskey?
Yeah.
That's a bit unheard of.
Why don't we set a baseline for the first
There's a lot of
shift?
health benefits here, but the most important one is that you get to, lower that heart rate, go for a nice little walk, and it's not even necessarily for me. It's just whiskey that you're bringing back to here, and that's totally fine.
We could always put it in the medicinal fanny pack of holding, right, William?
See, medicinal fanny pack of holding. That sounds
Dorcas
important.
just gestures to this large bag around her waist.
Medicinal. Yes. I can see. Disinfectant. Yes. Yes, good. And he saunters off. He puts up a little sign, "Be right back," in his little requisitions box. And then leaves the guardhouse. Two of the other senior guards have watched this little conversation. They're like, "Really, guys?
The best part is I didn't even give him money."
Yeah.
Well, we will have to at least, tip him for the delivery when he comes back. We'll worry about that later. We're already running late. We should probably, make sure that we make a good impression and we show up on time and everything.
Yeah,
First day.
briefing room's just upstairs. One of the guards says, shaking her head. The other guard, who's a large half-orc, who's just picked up Sophie and is cleaning her little mouth, hands you a quick flask. "Do you need a drink? Do it now before Tallullah sees you." And hands the flask to William.
Oh, thank God. Just big swig.
"We've all been there, lad." Takes the flask back. Just takes a swig as well and corks it, puts it back. Aye, up you go. You alright for your first shift, everyone? What
Ready
are you?
as I'll ever be.
What are you holding, little one? He looks at Mork.
So Mork is holding a fishbowl with an orange carp inside it.
A fishbowl with an orange carp.
Yes.
Is this your friend then?
Oh, this is my familiar. He keeps me calm in stressful new situations. He puts his fingers in the bowl and gives the fish some scritches, like you saw the pig do. Like you saw Dorcas do with the pig. His name's Magic.
That's a solid name. Has he met Sophie? And he has Sophie on his own hand. This is now a zoo. This just happened. And Sophie sniffs up to the bowl, digs her little nose in it. You can see a couple of bubbles. Maybe not. Maybe not let them swim together. She's still a bit hungry. He takes her back.
No, don't. It's okay, I won't let them hurt you, Magic. It'll be okay. We're going to be okay today. I promise.
You know, you can leave him here as well, right? When you're on patrol.
Oh, well, he's a familiar, so I can do this. And Mork snaps his fingers and dismisses his familiar as it whoop, disappears.
That's impressive. Magic.
How did you do that?
I like it.
That is
magic.
really not my kind of thing. It would be so convenient if I could just make little Tilly over here disappear to get out of the way of people practicing demon slaying.
That does sound useful. Maybe I can work on that one next. Hi, I'm Mork.
Oh yes, hello, I'm Dorcas. Just a very firm, like, built handshake.
You would have seen each other in training occasionally.
Yeah. It's okay.
All right.
I think we've met before, but I just wanted to properly introduce. And he snaps his fingers and makes the fishbowl appear again.
Still cool every time.
William will lean over to Duncan, kind of quietly whisper, so, like, my money's on Mork probably not lasting through this whole thing? I mean, what do you think? Yes, no? Yes, no?
I think you might find some of them may surprise you.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So,
you did well with the nervous clerk.
I mean...
We'll just make sure it goes into the medical handbag of holding, or the medical fanny pack of holding.
That's right. It's super important healing whiskey for all the people that aren't me.
Yes, well.
Don't call it a water of life for nothing, Dorcas says.
It's gets it.
Even if you're inadvertently helping someone, William, it's a start.
I can do inadvertently. I can do inadvertently very well, I think.
We'll see.
You might want to make your way into the briefing room. Tallulah's not exactly in a good mood.
That's kind of why we're stalling, I think. I mean,
Duncan's
I can only
gonna
speak
open
for
the
myself.
door and
Yeah,
wave
you're
him in.
heading up. Duncan's not scared of anything. He's seen some stuff at his age. Heads upstairs, creaky wooden stairs, very narrow, very dirty. It's not exactly a cleaning rota that can ever be upheld within the guardhouse. The people are either busy or pretend to be busy, and Tallullah also doesn't have the nerve for it, as she's usually then having to clean up everyone else's mistakes and not done paperwork. So as you head up to the briefing room, she is already in there. She is pacing her armor, which she still keeps. It's battered up. It's definitely seen some use, and you would know that she used to be a guard herself, that she ascended to the position of guard captain not through nepotism or anything, but through tough experience. In fact, some of the older guards have stories to tell that she used to be fun to be around. Nobody believes those stories, but some say she even has a really decent singing voice. It's a bit odd, but nobody really dares to ask her about it. So, as you head up into the briefing room, she's looking up from her pacing, stock still, Oh, there you are. Take a seat, take a seat, take a seat. My newest guards members. How are you doing? How did you enjoy your training? Not everyone at once, I guess.
I can see why we have the finest guards in the city.
Right. Right. Well, if you have no questions for myself, if you have no doubts
Where are we
or
going
worries
to be patrolling today?
about that's what I was getting to just a second. And she seems a little bit. William, you've seen that look mostly from the looking glass in your own room in the guard barracks. There's some reddish eyes. There's a little bit of a puffy cheek there. She may have had a little bit of a night herself. You're not sure whether it's from drinking or from partying or from, again, paperwork, but she definitely hasn't slept in a while. That's what I was getting to, because I just got a lovely message this morning, and I feel like this could be something for you guys. This could be a nice little introduction. First case, not too many people to insult, and if you do, they're dead. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm sending you guys to the graveyard.
Yes!
Weirdly
That sounds
excited.
like a great first mission for novice guards. Great, awesome. We'd be happy to do it.
She was honestly waiting for a little bit of a shock moment and is taken aback by Dorcas' outburst of happiness. Right, you're the happy one. Yes, I've been told. Well, here's the thing. Have you ever heard of body snatchers by any chance? And this is where we're just doing a history roll to see if you have heard of body snatchers.
Oh, let's find out. I'm pretty good at history.
Also, thank you very much, chat, for reaching that retweet goal for us. I have seen the boon, I have thought of a boon, and they will get the boon in just a little bit.
That's a straight 19. I have no modifier in history.
If you just want to
I do,
call
but I
out
rolled
your...
a 7.
It's not bad.
So 19
I have a
to
plus
14.
4 in history, so I got a 19.
Okay. Yes, Mork, you've studied the body snatchers. This was actually quite an exciting part in your introduction to necromancy. They used to be supplying the Department of Mortal Relativity with a couple of practice bodies. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of, capitalism taking over, and the price hike was just too much. The city eventually decided that there needs to be some form of regulations around that, especially when a couple of folks decided that digging up corpses from the graveyards was maybe a little bit too bothersome when there's so many potential corpses running around town. So that is now more regulated by the Body Snatchers Guild. Duncan, you also had the 19? You will
Yes,
also
I
hear
did.
about that as a
I
cleric.
believe Will also had a 19.
Yeah. Mark, did you want to say something?
No.
Okay, sorry. So you would know the basic information of that. William and Dorcas, that sounds terrifying, but what is a body snatcher? Have you heard of the body snatchers then? Tallullah says.
A bit.
No.
Tangentially.
Mark, you seem to know your stuff. Would you care to explain
had
to your
an
fellow guards?
introduction to necromancy course, and it's not they talked about how we sourced our bodies, and well, it used to work pretty well, but it got a little competitive,
Yes.
as a way to put it, and now the has to be regulated a little more harshly.
Basic thing is that they dig up dead guys to sell. Which is fine if the city gets their cut. Not so fine if the city doesn't, and the relatives are in high positions to complain. So, people apparently have taken things a little bit further than we like. I was contacted by Rupert Knox of the Faculty of Mortal Relativity. Apparently some items were found among students that are heavily restricted, and when questioned, well, they couldn't remember where they'd bought them. Even with a zone of truth, they were not able to reproduce that information. Possibly some memory is modified, a little bit of a fail-safe, not unheard of, but that's higher level magic, so we're a little bit worried of who's behind it.
It would
The
have to
items
be
in
a
question.
fairly heavy hitter for a modify memory spell to be in play, wouldn't it?
Exactly. Now,
Are you
there are ways.
expecting that level of trouble?
Well, I don't want you to fight the man or a woman. I want you to find out more about who's behind this. Evidence needs to be collected, William.
Oh,
Things
God,
need to
that's
be
right.
progressed. Paperwork needs to be done.
Paperwork can't. I mean, listen, here's my forte: finding the person and then convincing them to walk into jail. I don't see why that can't apply here.
We've had that conversation
also
before.
rather-
An hour later, they are suddenly no longer convinced and want out, and we have nothing to keep them here.
But at that point, I've already been paid, and it's, oh no, I'm a guard now.
Well, don't worry. I'm
Dorcas.
pretty good at convincing dead bodies to go back and lay themselves down where they came up from. I don't know why, but they seem to really like listening to me. You know, I just sort of go, "Be gone, dead ones," and then they just sort of slowly turn around and they just kind of go back to sleep.
And,
Kind of
Dorcas, do-
charming.
and you were
Yeah.
impressed by a disappearing fish? God, you're
Well,
cool.
I mean, I can't make a fish disappear, but this is something that I can do. It doesn't exactly come up very often in casual conversation. You know, usually we're not being just swarmed by dead bodies. Yours is much more useful.
You say usually? I don't like that word. That implies that it happens sometimes. It should never happen. That should be a never, not a usually. This is, I don't like. Will's getting like a little bit anxious, kind of really second guessing what he signed up for here.
So here, we can all play to the strengths of the group. I will make the bodies go back to sleep. You can make whoever is stealing the stuff go back to turn themselves in.
Okay.
And then we can all do the paperwork.
And then Will's gonna point at Mork, you fishbowl, and then he'll point over at Duncan. You probably guilt trips. I guess we got this or something.
I mean, he's not wrong.
I'll try to be useful. I promise.
So yeah, now you know why I've decided to have you four together. You know, a little bit of cleric paladin touch for the more bothersome inhabitants of the graveyard in case you decide to hit there now. There's a couple of other options, couple of other leads though. The body snatchers
DM, can I get a
guild.
sense for the captain? Is there a genuine expectation of success, or are we being set up to fail?
Roll me an insight roll.
All right, so let me get that into chat. My insight is a +6, so not bad. That's an 11 total.
She seems absolutely professional, as in, I barely know you. I don't care if you live or die. I care about the paperwork that would happen if you did die, so I would prefer you to live, but at this point, I really just expect you to do your job. You can't really get behind or beyond that veil of perfectly professional guard captain with that role. So, hard to tell at this point. But just from a purely pragmatic standpoint, survival would be best for everyone. There's a couple of options you guys are having. You can hit the ground, check out the body snatching guild. If you head down to Grass Market, they have their offices there. Little pub, back room, just off the Iron Bull. That's where you'll find them. They're not the most lively bunch, appropriately so, but they're an official guild. They are, to some degree, bound to help out with what they know. You can ask the caddies. You would know caddies are usually the sort of errand boys and girls, the people that are sometimes working as tour guides, as messengers. They are usually found around the marketplace up on High Street, but they're all over town. You would be easily able to grab someone. Or of course you can head straight to the graveyard, but there is a tiny little problem. The graveyard being protected by the Greyfriars monks. Well, Rupert Knox of the college has asked me to not involve them directly. Apparently there's still a little bit of bad blood after the banshee incident of 1456. Banshee, let's say it's a very common folklore thing. That would be the vampire version of a fey vampire, if you think. Common as the boogeyman in stories in the City of Eden. Not to mention that some of the students have quite influential parents, so before Knox can really do anything about the various items found, he needs evidence, he needs more information. So this is, and she looks at you very intently, right now, just a recon mission. Finding out who is involved, finding out why, finding out how they get it to the students. No setting things on fire unless they try and set you on fire first. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Crystal
Can I
clear.
ask a quick question?
Sure.
What kind of restricted items were we finding among the students exactly? Was it like illegal restricted or just frowned upon restricted?
A little bit of all of both. She actually has the items on her, and she puts them up. This right here is a jawbone. A jawbone of a MacMurich bard. Quite powerful magic, influential magic, enchantment magic could be wrought from this. Powerful bards, they're dangerous even after death. Here, little pinky finger bone of a centaur. Not entirely sure what you can do with that, but there's only a very, very small part of Greyfriars Graveyard that is used as burial ground for centaurs, and it's well protected by their own, so I'm not entirely sure how they got that. This one, do not open this thing, ever. She holds up a little vial, and inside, as you look closely, you see a wild swirl of energy. It's white and light blue. It seems to be throwing itself against the glass, trying to get out. There's a shiver down your spine, just from looking at it. This is a banshee's wail. Dangerous, very dangerous, and I'm quite glad it wasn't set off in the middle of a lecture. And she kind of throws up a skull, not exactly in the most respectful manner. That is my new friend. Alas, I didn't know him at all, but this is at least 1,800 years old. Elven. Bastards get old. Also, quite dangerous for some necromantic intentions. No idea what the students bought them for, but that's what we could find so far. Who knows how many more items like this are out there.
Will's gonna pick up the Banshee's veil in the bottle and just kind of look at it. I mean, getting something like this is impressively difficult. It's not a small amount of effort. So I don't think students are acquiring this on their own. They've obviously got like a cool older brother or friend. Someone is bringing it in from elsewhere, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Well, the only place to really get these items from is the graveyard itself, which is why I would like you to investigate. You can go to the graveyard, just blind in, but you would all know, by the way, the graveyard is a dangerous place. In context, the graveyard is most likely preceding the city itself. Nobody really 100% knows. Some people have ventured in. Not everyone has returned. And the only people that really seem to be on top of keeping Eden safe from whatever lurks within this incredibly vast area that starts on the southwestern border of the city and spreads out for miles and miles and miles. Those are the Greyfriars monks. There's monks stationed at the main gate. They're the more talky ones. They're the more sort of PR, public relations people that tell folks it's all right, we've got everything under control, don't you worry about those strange moaning sounds. And then you've got the fighty monks that are stationed within a conclave about 2-3 days journey inside the graveyard, and they take care of the really dangerous stuff. Some, especially Mork, with you having studied a little bit of that at the university, some even claim that there's various affinities between this world and the Shadowfell, and the graveyard is what it is because of the Shadowfell bleeding in. So going on to the graveyard, like I said, dangerous stuff. You're welcome to do so, but you might want to check out some of the more experienced graveyard delvers before you do.
And the students that were found with the bones and the artifacts and stuff like that, where are they now? Are they in jail? Are they just back to business as usual? Just if we want to talk to them.
You can probably find them at the university. If you head over to the Wizarding College, you will find them in the various... She looks through a bit of paperwork. Oh yeah, that's in necromantic. Now you will probably find them all in the necromantic section. Just ask for them. Here's the names.
But these were the ones that had their memories modified, potentially.
As far as we know, yeah.
Yes. Allegedly.
Maybe talking to some of the monks might shed some light on the situation. See if they've seen anything weird going on recently.
It's not a bad idea. Plus, my dad works at the university, so he can probably get us in to see somebody in necromancy. That's not where he works, but, you work with people across departments, stuff like that.
That's good. I really didn't want to talk to that professor again.
Again?
Sorry. What did you say, Mork?
There's a lot going on here.
I'm just glad that you can talk to them, because I really didn't want to talk to that professor again. So, I didn't want to knock on that door.
Oh, yeah, no worries. Oh, and to answer your question, William, my dad studies enchantment. He does research in how to better enchant magical items and objects. It's like weirdly experimental stuff. He tried to get me into it when I was little, but I wasn't very good at it. It kind of requires a little bit more of a delicate hand than I have.
Is anyone else feeling this, slowly building, mounting unease? No, just me? Yeah, let's go to the graveyard. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's just my natural state.
If we want to go to the graveyard first, we can. I prefer a bit more ear to the ground initially. Perhaps talking to some of the runners around the marketplace initially would be a good place to start.
That certainly seems like a good jumping off point. I agree.
We could be dealing with a fairly dangerous group here if we're dealing with the level of items and magic. I'd like to know what we're getting into before we dive headlong into what could potentially be a stronghold.
So what are you doing as a group? Because Tallullah will... Alright, Tallullah will yawn, turn around, stretch a little bit. Alright. Well, anything else you need from me, or is the case quite clear?
Quite clear,
No.
boss. And
I'll
then
leave you
we'll
to it.
try to pocket that
And
banshee's wail while she's looking away.
And she is distracted enough that this is going to be your boon. That she's
Hey.
cleaning up the stuff, but hasn't realized that you still were handling the banshee whale and sort of disappeared at some point and was maybe replaced with a bottle of not so banshee's whale and more like, I don't know, water, whiskey.
The illusion of one.
Yeah, good. Yeah,
It's
probably
just an
that's more
it's just an
lifestyle
egg white in a bottle.
for that whiskey sour later on. And
Yep.
she clears everything into a bag and goes, well then, I'm gonna go to bed. I mean, I'm gonna do some paperwork. And leaves the room, screams halfway out the door. Anything you need for items, check with Rivers. He should be back from his weird morning break soon. Anyway, and she grumbles out of the room. You have time to discuss what you want to do just amongst yourself in the briefing room.
I'll be honest, everybody. My vote's on the lively pub. I know those words didn't go directly together, but I heard them in a sentence and I tuned everything else out.
I feel like it's just as good a place to start as any, especially if we want to, talk to people who are messengers and couriers. And, they did say that the students didn't know anything under Zone of Truth, but they didn't say anything about random people that may have come into contact with these items. And I am very dedicated to truth. I will make you tell
Step
the
1,
truth.
get a drink. Step 2, unpack that statement. Step 3, interrogate Dorcas's dad. That's what I've got.
I think. Sorry, Mork. Please.
It's okay. I just feel like it's our first day as guards. I'm just not sure that getting a drink is appropriate. Sorry.
It's quite all
You
right,
know what?
Mork. We perhaps should proceed directly to our job and not to getting a drink first thing off. And he's just going to give William a kind of a unbroken stare for a few seconds.
Ooh, you can always do the thing that I do, which is where I just ask for a cup, but it just has water in it, but there's a secret code name that you can use, and they put a little umbrella in it so it looks like you're drinking something. But if you want to go undercover, you're really not.
I hate this job so much.
That sounds entertaining.
Perhaps
Let's do
college
that.
is the best place to start, and we can work our way outward from there.
Tiny umbrellas or not. Let's do it to it.
Yes.
All right. So where are we headed?
To the, what is it called? The Iron Bull?
The Iron
Yeah.
Pub
Bull.
and Grass Market? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are heading up the mile, or up the I'm using real life streets again. You're heading up the high street where people are still preparing their various stalls, starting to chat, to gossip. You see a couple of the caddies running around, asking the tourists that are coming into town, looking wide-eyed and open-mouthed at the very stacked architecture of all the little hovels and shacks on top of each other. You evade skillfully a couple of chamber pots being emptied out of doors and windows. After all, you've been living in the city for long enough to know how to do that. And you make your way down into the grass market, which lies in the shadow of Eden's Keep. The market there
While
is
we're
not for
walking,
food.
can I just really quickly throw a hand on Mork's shoulder and just say, you did well in the captain's office, Mork. Very impressive knowledge of the body snatchers, and that necromancy course came in handy.
Thanks. I always knew, the entire time I was in school, that everything I learned would eventually one day apply to my life.
You did well then. Very good. I think the captain was impressed.
I'm glad. Thanks.
Then we continue on.
You see a couple of people again greeting you quite amicably, and you head down into the grass market, which is a cattle and sheep market rather than food stalls and items. a couple of cows, a couple of sheep standing around, mooing and bowing, and people and children running around. Biddings going on one side. It is market day after all, but that also means the pubs are fairly busy. And as you head to the Iron Bull, which is in a little side alley, there is something slightly somber and sinister to the entrance. There's a couple of old-fashioned skull carvings just above the door. There's something to it that you can't quite quantify, almost as if the people within are leaving a mark on the place itself just by being there. And while you can hear music playing outside and you can get a feel for the liveliness of market day, when you enter the tavern, that music takes on a slightly more sinister touch. People are sitting around in little corners, shaded corners. Person at the bar looks up. Guardsman, this early in the day? What happened? And you can see his face fall a little bit, because guardsmen usually don't mean good things in this town.
Can I use one of my divine senses to kind of do a little vibe check of this bar and see if I can sense any, what is it? Fey, undead, celestial, fiend? No, just celestial, fiend, undead.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that a visible thing normally? Because you would feel Dorcas.
If they're within 60 feet, but not behind total cover.
Right, you see Dorcas concentrate a little bit, and there is for a moment a light aura around her. The barman would probably notice that as well and frown. Boy, no funny business, please.
It's quite all right. We're just making our usual rounds.
I just get a little indigestion sometimes, and like, oh. You got anything to eat around here?
We ate something really bad, and then Will's gonna like hiccup and then like cast minor illusion, and a little goldfish is gonna like float out of his mouth and then disappear.
Mork checks to make sure his fish is okay.
The barman looks very bewildered and like, all right, sure, we can. If you want some food, we've got a little bit of stew and just starting up, though it's still early morning. Got an apple? You want an apple?
Apple sounds good. Just a wee snack.
There you go. That's a copper. Copper. That was me. Yeah, toss him the copper piece, and he's still. So how can I help you then? Your channel divinity, by the way, doesn't ping anything unusual.
Okay. Technically, it's just the paladin divine sense.
Oh.
Channeling divinity is when we decide to make the dead bodies go back to sleep.
That's good. I just saw the thing in chat and didn't read the rest of the thing.
Oh, no worries.
That's fine. Vibe check it's perfectly fine, but it hasn't been cleaned in a while.
I like this place.
Is there anything you don't like? Just out of sheer curiosity, or is like everything on like a 9?
Oh no, I definitely don't like demons. I don't like it when people try to lie to me. I don't really like it when people are super dishonest, but I will make exceptions for cheating at cards and keeping presents that are surprises, and you know, just like I mean, like deep black lies of the heart and soul are not my thing. Little white lies, not so much.
So like everything else, 9. Soul-wrenching deception, like 6 or like 3. I'm just trying to see where the floor is, you know, like, and I'm worried 9 is not the ceiling. I'm just trying to get a general sense of what's going on here. I guess you could say. You know what? I'm going to stop talking. Do you guys sell whiskey?
We surely do. If you're just here for a little break, I guess the barman now gets the sense that maybe this is not an official business at all, because you've been just chattering and bickering. It was like, maybe you're just, you know, hiding from your duties, or maybe you had the night shift. He doesn't know. He doesn't want to ask. He's a barman. He doesn't want to get involved, but he's very happy to pour you whiskey. What are you in the mood for, my friend?
It's for medicinal purposes, so really whatever you suggest.
Cheap shit?
Sure.
All right. He pours you from an unmarked bottle, which suggests that it is maybe the moonshine they have going on in the back room, but it smells mostly like whiskey. There's a little slightly sulfuric undertone to it.
Now, when I said medicinal, there's no chance you misinterpreted that as like chloroform or I'm just trying to make sure. You know what? I take it back and then we'll just throw the shot back.
Right. You throw it down and for a moment it seems like you will literally breathe fire in a second or two, and then your airways have never been so free and so breathing has never been so easy. You get lightheaded for a moment and there's a wave of calm washing over you, and then you're back to normal.
I feel more medicinal already.
Well, that's great. Just so you know, if you ever get to the point where you need like a little first aid, she just pats the little fanny pack. Plus, I've also got a couple other things to like make you feel better if you're feeling sick. You know.
That's vague.
Yeah.
I like it.
Anyone
Can
else?
Duncan
Whiskey,
sit down next
ale?
to William?
Sure.
And to the barman, you haven't happened to see any students come in here looking for, and he looks over at Will's cup, medicinal products.
Only every day, my friend. You need to be a little bit more specific.
Oh, which school were they from, DM?
There's only one big school, but they have several departments. So, mortal relativity is the necromancy department.
Looking for some from the mortal. What did you say? Mortal relativity.
Yeah.
Mortal relativity. College.
Well, we've got a couple usually in on the weekends. They like the decorum, and he points around. There is barely any decorum because everything is so bloody dark. The candle holders on the various tables are also a little bit of a gothy vibe you get from that. It's yeah, you can see why the necromancy edgelords would like that place. They're often here. They're chatting. They're drinking. They're making friends. Our enemies, but if are you by chance looking for the guild? Or
What do you mean by that?
well, the back room, just second door on the left. That's body snatching guild official meeting place. I have the papers.
Mm-hmm. Did they ever interact with them?
Sure. A couple of the students are quite interested in the wares. A couple of the students are interested in the obtaining of the wares. It all comes with the territory.
It's part of the education, of course. Did they have any regular friends from the guild, or any regular friends they met up with here?
1 second. Oi! Waldy! And he shouts, you didn't see her on the table? She was perfectly still when you glanced around, and because she is an elderly woman that has a slightly corpseified look, even if you had noticed her, you probably would have thought she was maybe decoration.
Oh my god, Dorcas, put it to sleep. Put it to sleep.
She's actually still alive. It only works when they're all the way dead. She just looks really rough.
Are you sure?
Did I pick up anything weird about her from Divine Sense?
No, you didn't feel any undead people. It's a good, and a good thing you did it too, because she looks bloody undead, but you know she's safe. Oh. She's sitting at a little cup or bowl of porridge that she was eating, and she's now standing up and bringing it back to the bar. Thank you, dear. That was hearty breakfast. Can I help? Am I needed? Hello?
Hi.
Squints a little bit at you. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
We were talking to the bar person about anyone potentially being friends with the students. And the students from the Mortal Relativity School that frequent here.
I see. Well, hello. My name is Wolty. I used to be a student and a worker for the guild in my younger days. I'm living just around the corner now with my wife. We are still taking care of the younger generation, though. You know, make sure they stay on track, study hard and eat their porridge. I know most people in this place. I can help. I'm happy to help. Who are you looking for exactly, Darius?
Well, we don't really know who we're looking for so much as we know what we're looking for, which we actually also don't know. Duncan?
We're looking for anyone the students may have befriended during their time here. Anyone who seems to be especially interested in students either of the guild or of the College of Mortal Relativity.
Well, they usually befriend each other, if you know what I mean. Especially after a couple of whiskeys and ales, ciders, and I'm too old for this. Sometimes they try to work with us, for us as well, make a little bit of money on the side. Although lately we've had fewer come in, I must say. Ahead of the guild, Mr. Burk, he's complaining about some freelancers. Heard him go off on a rant the other day when a couple of the students were asking for things that he couldn't give them.
How long have these freelancers been a problem?
I've heard about them 2 weeks ago, I believe, for the first time. Mr. Burke tends to keep away from the people here. He's always sitting in his office, always taking care of the finances and the admin ever since the department got a little bit in hot water. For the trade, we have to keep our books clean, you see. Not sure the freelancers would do the same. Miss Siri, speak up. I can't hear.
Sorry. Mr. Burke's office. Would that be at the university?
No,
or is it here?
Just there at the back. Back there. Yes.
Never mind. Then...
I imagine Will is standing beside Dorcas as this is happening. She just starts yelling, so he's just like slowly tilting sideways.
Meanwhile, the Waldy leans in with an ear there and squinting, her little glasses dancing tip of her nose, bent over. She's tiny, frail. She looks like you could just at her and she would fall over.
And I'm bellowing into her ears. Great.
She's fine with that. She's happy about that. Yeah, just there at the back. There at the back.
Does he have a regular schedule here?
Oh, yeah, you'll be able to just see him now if you want to. He basically lives here. Doesn't like the sun much.
But just like to double check and be thorough. I can see him there, of course, but I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, the barman is at this point taking over. Yeah, if you just knock on the door and if he has time, he'll see you. Usually makes time for the guards. We all do.
Great.
Am I still needed? Am I under arrest again?
No.
Do you want to be?
Not particularly.
Then you're free to go.
Thank you.
But let us know if you ever change your mind, and I'll go into the fanny pack and just pull out like a little business card that's got like a address or like place to send messages to. Contact this guard number if you have any questions. Just be like, if you remember anything that you think might be useful about the freelancers, let us know.
Yes, I will let you know if I want to be arrested.
Please
can
do.
I go now?
And you know what? Spread the word that if people want to be arrested, they should come and find us. That's what we do. We're guards.
You get free bread and water and a straw mattress to sleep on. It's not a bad gig, you know?
It's actually a lot better than some hovels in this place.
I know, right?
Am I free to go? Sirs and madam?
I'll allow it, but keep your nose clean.
Alright. My lunchbox. And the barman, of course, got it for you, Aldi. And the lunchbox is a bottle of whiskey. Thank you. Pushes
That lass has some class.
5 silver pieces, takes the bottle, which she has to hold with both hands, and then she waddles out of the pub.
That lady must be very sick to take so much whiskey with her.
Yeah, sure. Well pickled, the barman says.
One of those take as needed things for dosage, you know? It's you just gotta suss it out a little.
Well, shall we go talk to Mr. Burke in his office now?
Yes,
Yeah,
let's
do it.
I'm going to turn to the barman and be like, thank you, and drop a gold on the table for the whiskey and the service.
He's quickly pocketing it and goes, much appreciated. Anytime you're looking for a dram, you know where to find well, that was the cheap stuff, but we have good stuff as well.
As everyone else is walking off, Mork's gonna kind of lean into the bar and go, could I get just like one of those little tiny little bottles of whiskey? I want to try something.
Sure. Hands you one.
Thanks. He's going to weave a little bit of magic using prestidigitation and change the label so it says fish food.
Oh no.
He's going to just put a couple of drops in Magic's bowl. Try that out, buddy. Apparently people like it around here. He pours it.
Fuck it, why not
They
roll
do
me
seem to
constitution save for your fish?
They do seem to say drink like a fish a lot around places like this.
I can
Guess
hear
we'll find
Sam
out.
in my head
Fancy
going,
ground,
alcohol is a
fancy ground.
poison. It's not even his show.
So there's a fish stat block. It's a quipper. Okay, they have -1 to Constitution.
Oh dear.
Con save, yeah.
Total of
Oh.
2.
Oh, that fish is
There's only a couple
sauce.
drops.
Magic is starting to sink to the ground of his little fishbowl. And a couple of bubbles appear. When they pop at the surface, you can hear
Little buddy's tuckered out, and he kind of rubs the top of the fishbowl as if it's the fish, and he does his little incantation and makes the whole thing disappear.
sleeping it off.
And he pockets his fish food.
Yeah, certainly, certainly. Fish food. Yep. You're heading to the
I'm
back
gonna
office.
catch up.
Mm-hmm. Are you heading to the back office? Yeah.
Yeah, as we do,
Yeah, I am.
Will would like to kind of fall behind and try to kind of put a hand on Mork's shoulder and like just gently kind of pull him aside for a quick aside. Hey, Mork, a minute ago you like raised your hand, but you didn't say anything. And I just wanted to let you know that like this is really your shtick here. And then Will's gonna like hold up a hand and cast minor illusion to create like a skull, and it'll be all like horrible and flamity and undead. And mine is more, and then he'll like snap the fingers of his other hand and cast prestidigitation again and make them erupt into butterflies. So I get the sense you're not really, super comfortable taking the lead. But on this one, when it comes to dead stuff, that voice that says don't talk or let other people do it, just, give it some fish food and tell us what's up.
I would rather not. That would make me extremely uncomfortable. Could you please do that instead?
Okay, I'll make you a deal. You pull me aside and tell just me the stuff, and then I'll tell everybody else the stuff and make it seem like it was my idea. Not to take the credit,
I can do that.
But to take the pressure off of you.
No, you can take the credit. That's fine. Takes the pressure. But in the moment, I might be too stressed to like properly place that. So I might just warning to start like slapping your shoulder or something. It'll be okay.
Well, I mean, you can do this, right? And then he'll do like a snap a finger and do prestidigitation again, and it'll be like the butterflies will like shatter into sparks. Not that necessarily, but you can do and he's gonna like snap his fingers a bunch, and it's gonna like be like a plethora of different prestidigitation magic effects, kind of like the background cycling on an iTunes library, the old visualizer.
Yeah.
Like any of this,
okay.
Maybe? No? Can you do any?
I can do that. Yeah. And Mork snaps his fingers and makes some red sparks that are notably not fire-like, because that's important.
Perfect. Okay, that right there. I can probably do that. And then Will do his best attempt at recreating the red sparks. So whenever you do that, I'll know that you got something that you want to tell just me, and I'll find a way to make it happen.
But if I'm like too freaked out, I might just smack you a little bit. Just like
that works too. That works too.
Okay.
We're gonna need you on this.
You're a really cool friend. Oh, can I call you my friend? Are you my friend?
If you want to call me your friend.
I do.
All right. First things first, though. Cool people are only cool because they don't need to be told they're cool. Now let's go, Mork.
You're so wholesome.
Mork's like in the inside. He didn't say I'm cool. Does that mean I'm cool now? I don't. And he'll follow.
As you're heading to the back room, and the little office door that is indicated there does carry a beautiful brass plate of Master Burk, head of Body Snatchers Guild. And you knock. Nothing. You knock again, the door opens up with a creak, and you see a hewn, rough staircase leading down. There's a couple of torches on the wall. It's cold. It's almost like a wafting, icy breeze coming from down there.
There's theatric and there's a little too on the nose. And Duncan's going to start going down these body snatchers. Are the torches lit?
Torches are lit, yes.
Okay,
Only
so
light.
you can see. Yeah. What's the bomb?
Anything else you want to do, Cast, before we head down?
I just was gonna take out my sort of Bruce battle axe, and I can just sort of make it a little shiny with some light, like a flashlight, just in case things get a little dark, lurking in dark corners and all that good thing. So,
yeah. So you carefully head downstairs, not quite sure what to expect. The staircase circles. You definitely will be underground by the end of it. And as you reach it, there's a corridor leading to an open space. You see a couple of doors on the side, some open, some closed. Wine cellars, storage areas. But at the end, another door, half ajar, and a warm candlelight shimmer. Do come in. I heard your knock. I'm sorry. I was just a little indisposed.
I don't really blame you. There were an awful lot of stairs to get down here.
Yes. Come to the light, please. You hear the voice from within the office.
Oh, just what you want to hear a body snatcher tell you to do. Come into the light.
I'm assuming you are.
William,
Go for it.
Dorcas, best put
Normally,
the axe away.
yeah, that's not a bad idea. Normally, William, I would disagree with you, but in this case, it's a little unnerving.
Right. This whole... I don't know. Let's just figure it out.
Yep.
Well, you're heading into the office, and you see a surprisingly warm and inviting-looking environment. You see bookcases, you see a beautiful wooden desk, and you see a man at that desk. Several candles give an orange glow. There is still that icy cold sensation. There's seemingly no warmth coming from the candles, but he seems all right. You see his long ears, elven, definitely elven. He's very handsome, but slightly on the older side, on the elderly side face again. And for an elf, that means he's been around for a while. He's dressed quite sharply. Black, of course, naturally, but with a little cravat and very immaculate personal hygiene. His beard is trimmed, his fingernails are clean, and he's handling a beautiful quill as he's scratching on a couple of pieces of paper. Looks up, takes off little half-moon spectacles and says, but City Guard, well, do I owe this pleasure? Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you before. Sorry, but I'm Master William Burk at your service. You're new, yes?
Yeah.
How can I help?
Good, nudge Mork forward. It's quite all right.
Gently slide Mork right back to where he was. That's Mork. Will, Duncan, Dorcas.
Wonderful to meet your acquaintance. Of course, anything I can do to help. If you would like to check the books, they are in order as always. It's just a little bit unusual to see you this early in the day.
Well, we were following up on a complaint. We heard about some freelancers in your general industry.
Oh, and he stands up, and you see his demeanor completely changes. It was polite, it was open and nice enough, but now he's actually quite almost exuberant for someone so reserved. You're like, thank you so much for finally... and walks up, he shakes your hand as you say that. I've had so much trouble. Hold on. And he goes through a little bit of paper. He goes through some letters. There you go. This is all I've collected in terms of where I saw them, who they were with, and what kind of students they'd be trying to get into their thralls. These freelancers are giving us all a bad name. I know, we've had some trouble in the past. I know I wasn't always forthcoming about my sources of income, but I've cleaned up my act. I understand the importance of...
Your cooperation will be noted in this case to the captain.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's here. This, and he shows you a letter which says something about trying to offer the body snatching guild a new stream of revenue, a beautiful opportunity. You know, that sort of. He's trying sales pitch talk, and it's talking about items in particular, not so much bodies, that would be helpful to those with coin. It is signed Darian, a Drummond. Darian,
Does
a
that
Drummond.
name mean anything to any of us?
No, it wouldn't. He's not in any way, shape, or form come up in any research, in any academical texts. This man right here, I believe he's behind it all. He tried to join the guild and circumventing all the tests, all the rituals, all the traditions, just with this stupid idea of his magic items from corpses. But no, not in my house, I will have you know.
Sorry, when you say magic items from corpses, do you mean like stealing things that they were buried with, or do you mean making magic items out of the corpses themselves?
Possibly both. I wouldn't know. I'm not a magic user. Like I said, 100% good, fresh corpses. That's what you get with a contract with my guild from valid sources. And the monks have even allowed us a little window of using the main gate at night at this point. I can't imagine that Mr. Darian here would find a similar deal with the good and righteous monks of Greyfriars. I believe he
Do you know if so this freelancer has been providing illicit goods, and you're still not sure how he's acquiring them. Do you know of anybody who has done business with these freelancers? Any names? People we could speak to?
I wouldn't be associated with them as such. There were some types who would ask for these items after I threw him out of our meeting. He ran off screaming about how he wouldn't need us anyway, and I do understand that some of my clients are not exactly, well, the wholesome kind, but that is not, of course, something I can control. You might find hold on. He goes through a little at the desk. He opens up one of the drawers, and he seems to have all of his customers and all of his clients in there by order. There you go. This might be a good one here. And he hands you an address. He is one of the more, let's just say, ambitious students of the department. Honestly...
I'm going to turn and hand the address to Dorcas. And...
Yeah, do I recognize that at all?
Oh, so the address itself is in the nicer part of the student area of the south side, as it's called. It's definitely an area where you would know, due to your connection with the university, the rich students tend to live, either alone or flat share or in little student accommodation type situations. But they have parents with money, and if there's parents with money, that always complicates straightforward situations. This might be your best bet right here. He started out at a very early age hanging around in the pub, trying to chat to my colleagues and myself. He would very often name drop his mother. Apparently, his mother used to be quite an important woman, working up in Eden's Keep as an advisor to the High Council in magical matters. he himself tries to follow in her footsteps. I'm not quite sure how successful he is. Dalvin Rimple. The Rimples are quite a... And you didn't hear that from me, of course. Please, no records of that. They are a nasty bunch. Always trying to buy their way through town, trying to jump the queue, trying to influence people with, well, if not with money, then with threats. I don't associate with them on principle. Eventually, Dalvin was just kicked out of the pub when he tried to, start a little kerfuffle, if you will, with one of the bouncers. They do not take kindly to that, and quite right too.
The bouncer that was working that evening, can we talk to them, maybe?
Possibly. What's the time? Okay. He should be upstairs soon. They usually come in around noon and help out in the kitchen as well.
Great.
That sounds good, because if this Delvin Rimple fellow is just a lazy rich layabout, he's probably not going to be awake until later in the evening, especially if he's spending all night skulking around graveyards and stuff like that.
Which, I mean, I've known a lot of uppity rich kids, and graveyard skulking is not usually a preferred activity of theirs.
Yeah, usually they're a lot more boring when it comes to acquiring valuable objects.
Right? It's like fine art this and grapes that. Grapes. Who's ever heard of a grape? I don't know. Anyway.
If you want to wait for the bouncer at the bar, let Melvin know that the drinks will be on me. I really appreciate you looking into this whole situation.
I really appreciate the drinks.
Most people do. Anything else?
Is he being... How forthright is he being with all of this?
Make me an insight check.
Yes. All right. So... Oh, there we go. 24 total.
Oof, nice. There's something odd. You say, or he said, he's not a magic user, he wouldn't know about these things. Yet, as you look around in the bookshelves, there's definitely a couple of tomes that you would not expect in a regular businessman's office, especially on necromancy. That strange coldness is still rubbing you the wrong way. And that table in the back with a little cloth on top, the shape is striking you as odd as well, slightly longish, and the desks around, the chairs around are seemingly not used very much. It seems to be a little chatty area where, let's talk a little bit more about business, let's have a drink. But there's no candles there, it's not lit, it's just something's off about this place. There's a little bit too much facade.
So there's nothing else about these freelancers you want to let us in on?
I would be happy to take a look at any of the paperwork if you would rather that.
Well, I would not rather. It's just usually what the guard is coming for. Here for. I only know of Darian, to be perfectly honest. I don't know if he's got himself a gang together, if he has some of the students on his side. He's not shown his face here in the last 2 weeks or so. Not since his, violent outburst running off. As for the little man, the little Rimple, that was a week and 2 days, I believe. He was raising a stink over why we threw out Darian, or not threw out, but why Darian was no longer coming, why he was no longer associating with us, and just unsavory bunch, that.
Have you seen this Rimple kid since?
No, I didn't seek him out, and he hasn't come back since.
Well, at the very least, we know where this kid lives. He's probably going to return there or to his parents' house at some point. Unless something has gone terribly wrong. But don't you worry about that, Mr. Burke. We will make sure that we take care of this with our typical thoroughness.
That's wonderful to hear, dear. Wonderful to hear. And as I'm assuming you're heading back upstairs to wait for the bouncer, I will say that we've reached 30 retweets. Which might be a bad thing about to happen at some point when it's narratively appropriate to really mess you up.
I'll just make a con save now, if that's
I did
okay.
notice it. How much are you drinking, Mork?
Mork's not drinking anything. It's his first day on the
Alright,
job.
fair.
Magic, on the other hand...
Yeah, nothing's happening just now, but just want to say I saw you. Chat.
Dorcas is going to turn to Duncan and be like, so Mr. Burke is totally a vampire, right?
He seemed to know more about necromancy than he let on.
Certainly more than he was willing to tell us.
There was a lot more in that room than strictly necessary. I don't fully trust him, but
nope.
We can make determinations if we're being led down false paths here to eliminate a competitor. I feel like we'll be able to feel that particular ruse out if we continue down. We can always circle back to him, hopefully. But we have good leads, and we can investigate both the name and the bouncer and the address we've been given.
Yes.
And we have 3 drinks waiting for us upstairs.
Yeah, I was just saying, Will can get a drink.
So you've got the address of Dalvin Rimple, and you're heading back upstairs, which is starting to get filled up a little bit more. You get the idea that the bigger and better cattle has been auctioned off successfully, so folks are coming in to drink, coming in to prepare for lunch. Early boozy lunch, most likely. And the tables are filling up, still with slightly strange folk. The Iron Bull apparently has just that feel to it. But they seem nice enough. Nobody's glaring at you for being a guard. And as you sit by the bar, the barman offers you a little bit of stew. Are you hungry, guys? Are you waiting for someone? Just having a break?
We were told to ask about a bouncer who's not here yet, but will be in the kitchen soon. So in the meantime, we were told to get free stew and free whiskey.
All right, you've been chatting to Burk then. Sure. If you're helping him with one of the cases, then that is on us. And he puts down bowls of stew of undefined meats and root vegetables. It does smell nice. It does smell very heavily spiced with something that might not normally go into stew, but fair enough. And whiskey? Sure, on duty, yeah. Not going to get in trouble with Tal?
Medicinal.
Yeah, of course.
Just the water for me.
Pours your glasses. Duncan gets water. I'm assuming Dorcas will also have... Yes?
I'll take some stew, if that's fine.
Absolutely.
Yes,
You
I
just
will
put
as
down
well.
the bowl, yeah.
It smells
Put down the bowl.
delicious.
Yep. Couple of the guards' horses had to be the other day, so we got the best meat. Stables are just around the corner.
Mork reaches into his pocket and pulls out just a handful of crushed red pepper and just drops it into the stew and stirs a little bit.
Yep.
You carry those with you everywhere?
I like everything to be just a little painful when it goes down.
Fair enough.
Something to unpack. You wait there for a little while, and you eventually see a fairly large dragonborn come in. Definitely looking like the bouncer kind. You do know that the pubs like to employ the more taller, menacing-looking folks. Dragonborn in the City of Eden are well respected. Same for half-orcs. There's no real classic wild savage sort of situation. Also not super associated with magic in case of dragonborns. They're just tall and big, and that means they are suited to this job quite beautifully, because just one glare or a little bit of a fire breath and folks usually fall in line. He is a brass dragonborn. He's got a couple of horns, sort of slicked back looking, tail whooshing left and right as he saunters in. I'm a little bit early, Mel. I got some food for me to wake up properly. It was a long night yesterday. And Mel, yeah, sure, have a bite. I think these folks would like to talk to you. Right, sure. Sits down next to you guys. How can I help?
I'm Shepherd Duncan. This is Dorcas, William, and Mork. We're just hoping to speak to you very quickly about a few issues. And I'm going to turn over to. No, this wasn't the person with the address. I'm blanking on the connection here.
Darian.
I think this is the
one...
bouncer.
This is
Yeah,
the
this is the
bouncer
bouncer.
that sat down. Yeah.
Was there when the Rimple kid got into the kerfuffle about the other guy
Yes.
being missing?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The
We
Rimple
want to
kid?
ask. Yeah.
Oh God, got to be rid of him. Is he pressing charges? Because I have witnesses.
No, nothing like that.
All right. Little bastard.
What exactly happened?
Well, he's always been a little bit annoying, to be perfectly honest, trying to impress the girls with some magic tricks when he knows that we don't have that sort of stuff flying on a weekend, trying to impress everyone, really, with who he knows and how he knows them, and it's just such a little prick. He eventually got in with that Darian fella. Just followed him around like a lovesick puppy. It's kind of adorable. I might have teased him a little bit about that, but, you know, nothing no one can handle normally. He flew off the handle immediately. He just started screaming at me and, whoa, what did you do to him? Like, why is he not allowed here anymore? And we're better... He's better off without us anyway, because he'll take over the guild one day, and just absolutely inappropriate. Really, really, really insulting towards Master Burk downstairs, and that's not going to fly. So kicked him out. Might have him running against, you know, one of the parked carriages outside, but that's not my problem. And he gulps down a full pint. Honestly, I have like at least 3 people that will vouch that he started it. Just doing my job.
That's good. That's good. You may be entitled to receive benefits from a class action lawsuit. We'll follow up with that. Don't worry about it. So, when's the last time you saw this kid? I mean, obviously, you know, you escorted him out. Did he, you know, storm off in a general direction towards his house, or, you know, did he seem like he was maybe heading towards, I don't know, just shot in the dark, the graveyard, or maybe the graveyard, another location like perhaps the graveyard? I don't know. You tell me. Was it the graveyard?
Well, if you're subtly asking whether he's been at the graveyard, then he's been chatting to people and trying to tell them that, yeah, he spent a couple of nights at the graveyard, he's been delving, he's been exploring, and yeah, I thought that's what most of these necromancer kids do.
But presumably within the bounds of sanctioned guild activities, right? Did he seem like he was bragging that he was doing this on his own, or did he have help from an illicit patron, maybe?
We were all young ones, right? Some of us still are. I'm not one to rat him out for running around the graveyard on a dare. That's what most of us did growing up here, especially You know, the necro kids. It's what they do. Technically, they're not allowed without asking the monks. Technically, they're not allowed to take anything without conferring with the monks and the snatchers, but that's not my problem.
It's true. That is how I learned that I could make dead bodies go back to sleep.
See, she knows what I'm talking about. Wait, what?
Never mind.
It's
Nope,
fine.
Don't worry about it.
Totally normal. And this friend of his that you said he followed around, what was his name again?
Darian.
Darian. Where could we find this Darian?
He might. Well, he looks like one of the knobs, right? Might be in the new town. Might be in the fancy side of South Side. I've never really bothered learning where he lives. He's
Does he come here frequently?
Hmm?
Does he come here frequently?
Not anymore. Tried to get in on Burk's good side and business deals and stuff, and it didn't work out. He just caused a little bit of a scene and then ran off. Said he'd start his own business. That's like 3 of them saying that every other week. We've got the contract with the city. We've got the contract with the college. Good luck for anyone to try and get in on that. It's heavily regulated these days. Can I ask, is Tilly somewhere in your fanny bag of holding, or is Tilly running around on the table as well?
I guess like as we've been walking around, I've kind of had her just cradled in the little pot that she rides around in my arm. But I'll set her down on the table, and while everyone's ordering drinks, so maybe get like some water to just sprinkle on her roots, maybe a little red wine for that earthiness. She likes that every so often.
So as you're pondering the information that you just got from the bouncer and from Burk earlier, the little shrub that was sitting on the bar and was perfectly still and inanimate, now that you get your drinks, a little umbrella in a bit of orange juice, a little cup of water, you pour it into the shrub, and that's when Tilly goes and starts looking around. You see the bouncer's eyes widen. Did that thing just move? He asks Duncan next to him. Did that bush just move?
Let's be fair, that's not the strangest thing you see in this city on a daily basis.
Moving shrubberies are usually not on top of the list. He holds out a little hand and trying to... Can I?
Yeah, just be careful with her. Sometimes she wraps her little tendrils around your finger. It's really sweet.
Tries to poke Tilly, who's still sort of drinking happily, just zoned out. Poke, and she shivers and shudders, and a couple of leaves fall down. And then a little branch comes out and just slaps his hand away. Just, ow. Sorry. I don't think she likes
She's a
me.
little feisty when she's got some wine in her. Don't worry about it too much.
Alright. Cool. He mouths at the barkeep. Just, I need more booze. Another pint is put in front of him.
Friend. I have an idea.
What's up, Mork?
All right, so he kind of leans in conspiratorially. So, this person, I think it was Darian, they seem like the kind of person who might be able to find something like the items we got from, well, we saw that Tallullah had. And, well, if we could just, like, disguise one of ourselves and make something that looked like, you know, if only we could make something look like that banshee whale, and we'd be like, go in with that and be like, hey, can you help us find something like this, but like down low, go in like undercover, and you know we gotta make like a forge a facsimile, and then we could try to get the information that way.
And then we'll like
yes, if
stare
only we
blankly.
had banshee whale.
hear like his brain gears turning. Hey, barkeep, what's the smallest glass bottle you have with a really nice looking topper?
All right, we've got. I think we've got one of those lady drinks over there. Oh, hold on. And he goes through some of the.
Umbrellas, please.
Right, yeah. He goes
code.
through some of the old bottles and pulls out a little gin bottle with a beautiful, wouldn't be carved, but there within the glass basically there's a nice a little bit of line work and vines, and just looks very botany type. That sort of stuff.
Yeah, that looks great. I will take the bottle.
Inside. All right. You take the bottle. As who was handling the banshee whale
Also
bottle?
Will. William.
Yeah. You see, because there was the 30 retweet.
Oh no.
Bane reached. As you handle it and as you try and compare the bottle, it's just a little bit of a stew in your hand, and you drop it. It doesn't shatter, but unfortunately the cork shoots out of the bottle, and so does part of the screaming, wailing sound of a banshee's wail. And unfortunately, that means everyone needs to make a Constitution save, and that includes the bouncer, that includes the barman, and that thankfully does not include Wolby, but some of the other patrons in the bar, as the peaceful atmosphere of the Iron Bull gets shattered by it. Yeah, that's the sound I made. So, what's everyone's Constitution saves? Let's just say who has below a 13.
Dorcas is good. I don't think Tilly would need to make a save. Tilly's a bush.
Does she have ears? Does it have ears?
Our
Does she
No.
have a gender?
Yeah, do you communicate with her? Do you talk to her, and does she understand you?
Well, I can talk to her. I don't know if she understands what I'm saying.
Say, the awakened shrub has a stat block.
Oh,
We
If
could
it has a
look.
stat block, yeah.
then she'll need to make a save.
Roll me the con save for Tilly as well.
It's okay, we'll save her.
We have the
Oh,
necromancy. I mean, power. I mean,
Technology?
All right, so for her, con is just a straight roll, so 19 for Tilly. A tough
way to
little
be, little
shrub.
tree.
So did
Yeah.
anyone roll below a 13?
I rolled a
of you
1.
guys?
Oh no!
Is that you,
Shep.
Tom, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Shepherd Duncan just drops to the ground. As you try and still catch the bottle, you're very close to it, and you are on 0 hit points. Everyone
Oh.
else...
This is fine.
Yeah, totally fine. Nothing bad ever comes from a banshee. Everyone else takes... it's not too bad. 11 psychic damage.
Oof.
That includes little Tilly.
50% of my health. Not too bad, though. Not too bad.
And the barman and the dragonborn bouncer. The bouncer actually lands face first in his bowl of stew. The barman just drops down, takes a couple of bottles with him. 2 other patrons in the bar drop to the floor, and a couple others go, "Oh my head! What the fuck? What was that?" What do you do?
At this point, Tilly has kind of just flashed a little bit like a tree getting struck by lightning, and then when you see it again, she's just sort of like charred, a little bit of smoke coming off of her top of her things, and her branches droop down, and Tilly is no more. She can't take that
Tilly-
much damage.
Oh my god! Okay.
Yeah,
She has 10 hit points.
You will. Oh, for clarification, she's not dead. Same for Duncan. She's on 0 hit points. But I will
Okay.
have Tilly, we talked about that earlier, make saves as well because she's a party member. She's not a familiar, she's a party member in a sense. So remember, she's on
You
0,
did
she's
this.
unconscious, and she's
Aw.
drooping, but she's not dead.
Okay, cool.
Like I said,
Will
I'm not
is
out
gonna-
to kill all familiars.
Yeah.
But
Everything is destroyed.
the glasses have been shattered. There is a lot of booze all over. And Duncan, make me a death save.
Could I do something about that?
Yeah.
All right. So while Duncan is slowly dying, Mork is going to go. Oh no! And he's going to start casting magic, and he's going to. Captain Jack will get you by tonight. He's going to cast life transference on Duncan.
Whoa.
On Duncan. So you're getting hit points back. You can stabilize people with a positive medicine check, by the way.
Yeah, but this is more fun.
Yeah.
All right. So Duncan regains 36 hit points, and I take 18.
I think I'm back at full health then.
Wow.
As-
you
Oh, there we
see
go. Yeah,
Mork-
I'm back at full health. All right.
You see Mork kneeling down. Describe how the life is being transferred from you into Duncan.
So while he's singing badly, this necrotic line of energy just goes out of him. You see him wither a little bit as it goes into Duncan, and Duncan just... It's like refilling a water balloon.
Yeah, as he was there withering slowly, his face going paler and paler by the minute, his lips turning blue. Suddenly, that little rosy flush is back as the necromantic and psychic energy from the banshee whale is being counteracted by Mork's noble sacrifice. Tilly is faltering. Her little leaves all fall down, and she's sort of bending over in her pot.
I'm just
Roll me
going
a
to.
nature or medicine check if you want to try and get her stabilized and get
Nature.
her back up, basically. Anything
Let's
for her.
see.
Cute.
Are those?
I like that.
I'm actually better at medicine than nature, so let's give medicine a shot. There's such a thing as tree surgeons.
They mostly do
Uh,
triage.
Ha!
Thanks,
no,
I hate it.
How much
it's an
psychic damage do we
8.
take from that?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
It's an
Oh,
8.
how much-
It's an 8. All right. Chat is sorry, by the way, for this bane.
It's
too
okay.
late
If it doesn't seem like it's working, can I just boop her with my little orc pinky finger, half orc pinky finger, and give her a little lay on hands?
Yeah.
It's like lay on leaves. Cool.
now. Leon leaves.
Just bring her back
Try
up
and
to a hit point.
sort of put the leaves back on her. I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so
Yep.
sorry, baby. And some
Trying
of
to
the
glue
leaves,
with some spit, maybe.
as you invoke Bruce's energy, please don't let her die. Please don't let her die. I just got her. Some of the leaves do reattach, and Tilly's little branchy body is. And she makes a couple of gnarly wooden sounds, like a willow
Like a
creaking in the wind.
sound.
That's usually how she
Oh.
communicates.
Poor
And she's
thing.
not happy. But Duncan, you open your eyes again after, for a second, things turned pitch black. You're on the floor. You look up at Mork.
My eyes
You're
are
not
just
quite
gonna
sure-
go. My eyes are just gonna go right to William and just gonna hold there for a second. Just like, well, that was unfortunate.
What the hell was in that gin, right? Like, it's wild.
Yes, indeed. And just kind of like get up slowly, like just not breaking eye contact.
And
then
this has
you-
become a very tense bluffing game as Will continues to try to play it off that he has no idea what he's talking about, even though he suspects very well that Shepard knows that he knows exactly what he's talking about.
You also see the barman on the ground, Duncan, and you see the bouncer in his stew blowing a couple of bubbles.
I'm
Oh,
going
no.
to very
Unconscious.
quickly throw a healing word at both of them.
You do that.
Yeah.
I'll just pick the bouncer up out of the stew so that he's not breathing in gravy and potato chunks as he recovers.
As he comes to, he's like, "What the fuck was that?"
All right.
Yeah, and he starts licking his hands. It's just
Commit.
He looks very confused. And
It's just a really bad batch of gin. You should do some whiskey about it. It's medicinal.
It is real whiskey business, just making this stuff in your own bathtub and whatever. Anyway, I think William might be done with his medicinal tonics for the day, right?
Yep, I'm probably topped up, and actually we should probably go, like right now immediately, for unrelated reasons. Guard stuff.
Barman, you see the hand coming up from beyond.
Mork's walking around it like you're down. How many hit points, Mork?
23.
23.
Oh, dang.
Can I look over at Mork and just, Mork, you don't look well.
Nosebleed.
I heard. Are you doing okay?
I am, and I suspect, and I'm going to put my hand on him. I owe that to you, and I'm going to cast Cure Wounds at 2nd level.
No.
Cute.
Feel the healing energy of warmth surging through your body. Yeah, much better. Much better.
Smiles upon you for 11 hit points.
Decent.
And before the barman can really ask what exactly happened and who was responsible for it, you are out of the Iron Bull. William, you did get the bottle as you were writhing on the ground with your headache. You managed to put the cork back on. There's still a little bit of sliver in there. Possibly another charge or two. But, now you know what it does. And it hurts. That was 2 words. Max.
Yes.
It outs.
Can I try to half discreetly get a decent look at this thing and then just recreate it using improved minor illusion in basically just pretty well doing my best to exactly mimic the movement of this sort of shard of I guess it's like a floating wisp of energy kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So do my best to make it look as organic as possible, and I'll recreate the motion and the glow for the first half, and then the improved half will be that sort of subtle sort of sound. I'm assuming we hear something from it.
Yeah. Every time that little wisp of energy bashes against the glass from the inside, there's a little bit of vibration, and there's almost like a face that is mashed against the glass. For a moment, you can see hollow eyes and like teeth. It's gnarly, but yeah. You can. Okay, if I do this, wave the strands a little bit like that. Oh, make the eyes glow. Yeah, that's good. You managed to recreate that with the second bottle.
Perfect.
Hey, William, you've got 2 of those. How are you gonna know which one is the real banshee and which one is the fake one?
Easy. And then he's gonna poke an umbrella into the fake one.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's a code.
You're hitting. Oh, that's not my music. That's a plane. Oh my god.
I think that was coming from my mic. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I was like,
plane.
what's did I put the wrong music on? Why is there a growling? You come back out onto the grass market where a couple of buskers are playing happy flute music in a corner, and some people are wondering what you're doing with these 2 bottles, but they know not to approach the guards. You see Waldy, actually. She's made it about 50 feet away from the pub in her slow waddling movement, still carrying the big bottle of whiskey. Waves back at you when she sees you turn around the corner. Hello!
Hello, Waldy.
Enjoying your lunch break?
Oh, when I'm coming home. Yeah, when my wife gets her food. What are you up
It's
to?
good.
Off to chase a couple of ne'er-do-wells. She's very pleased with her joke.
Mm-hmm. You know how it is.
Well, enjoy yourselves. Where are you going?
Are we gonna check out the Rimple kid's address, or what was the other person? Darian. We don't know where to find Darian yet, do we?
Let's check out the kid's address then.
Yeah. Go to the rich kid apartment complex of this university.
In the meantime, Will is still kind of thinking about what Mork's suggestion was to try to have somebody look like Darian, and he's just trying to rack his brain to find a way to acquire a copy of Darian's appearance.
So Mork's suggestion wasn't to look like Darian, but to approach Darian as a buyer.
Then the whiskey has dulled his senses.
That's okay.
So you're heading to the rich kids complex, if you will, of the college's dorms. And it is the middle of the day at this point. It's around around noon. And most students at this point have just woken up. Some are already studying hard, but there's definitely a couple of people just lurking through the halls of the dormitory, where you are immediately led inside. Your guards, naturally, people are quite, let's just say, quite unsurprised to see you. There's someone at the reception area who will ask you what you're doing, who you're looking for, whether any problems they should know about have come up, but they're not trying to block you. Even though it's the rich kids area, they know not to mess with the guards. Yes, of course, you can come inside, have a look around. I would ask you not to cause a scene, of course, but you know, if you need Master Rimple, is it? That's the 3rd floor, door 26. Should I take you there?
Oh, yes, please.
All right, this way, please. And she walks up. She is a dwarven woman dressed quite finely, with very short hair, slicked back, very professional. This is just for the freshman years, just here, a little meeting area. She starts giving you a tour just out of habit, I think. Meeting area over there. We've got a little pool table here. Music every Wednesday. It's very civilized, of course. We've got a workout hall at the back. We've got a magical practicing range just there. This way, please. Stairs just here on the left. And then the climbing begins. It's a big house. It's one of the old townhouses, possibly a former factory hall that was converted. And takes you up. There we go. Door number 26. I'm sure you understand that I cannot open the door for you without a warrant. And I will make sure that you don't find other means of opening it. But if he's home, you're welcome to join him inside.
Thanks, you've been really helpful. I'm going to give you my card. We also do drug and alcohol safety presentations for students as part of public outreach. So if you would ever like us to come set up a little workshop for your association, we also like to do that. You know, just make sure that the kids are staying safe while they're partying hard and everything, you know.
Oh yes, oh yes. Some would say that's quite pointless, but I appreciate your optimism.
She said she's going to stick around and make sure we don't break in, right?
Yeah.
Those are the words out of her mouth?
Yeah.
Will
Very
would like
professionally
to
so, with a sickly sweet smile.
approach her with a warm smile and take her hands in his. And as he does, his smile is literally going to flash as he casts Charm Person with his innate magical initiate powers on this lady. So she's going to need a wisdom saving throw.
Oh my.
Wisdom saving throw.
Legendary resistance.
No,
Listen,
gods
I'm
just
going to
walk
need
around.
you to confess to a crime. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
You see her eyes glazing over a little bit as her head lolls and she's staring at you like she's staring into the sun itself.
Now, I have to say, out of all the times I've been led to a room, this is not only the best, but possibly the single most memorable, and I can't thank you enough. However, I think it would be a shame for you to deprive other people of this fantastic experience that we just got, and you know what? You should resume your post. Like, we got it from here. You know, we're guards. What are we going to get up to? We got this. You go back, madam, and deliver your tour services to the world.
I think I could do that. You will still have to roll me a persuasion check.
Deal.
But at advantage, of course.
Ooh, I have a +6 on that. And I'm going to try the fantasy grounds. It looks like it's working, so.
Cool.
Ooh.
I don't know how to do advantage, so I'm just going to do it twice, though.
Yeah.
Ooh.
17 is the better result.
Sorry? Didn't catch that.
A 17.
17. Yeah, that's enough. You're right. I should not neglect my position. Thank you so much for reminding me. I could have gotten into trouble there. It's very kind of you, good sir. And she saunters off slightly drunk and and wanders back.
Will's going to wait till she's gone and then give a very pointed little wink over at Shepherd Duncan and try to see if the door's unlocked.
Gonna knock on the door. Just anyone
You knock
there?
on the door. No one says anything. No sound from beyond.
Is the door
Mork
is the door
rolls out
locked?
a lockpick set.
The door is locked, yes. The front
You
door
know,
locked.
one of the embarrassing things about being at the temple of the Lightkeeper is that sometimes you lock yourself out of the reliquary, and he undoes, like, he has his hands wrapped, and he just starts, like, sliding some thieves' tools out from a set of gloves. And sometimes you need to figure out how to get it open. So I'm going to attempt to pick the lock with the, just totally normal gloves I'm wearing. That, yeah, it's a 25 total.
Roll me an insight check. William in particular. Not sure if Mork
Boy, I
or
just-
Dorcas would.
Hate to be
You know
locked out of the reliquary.
Yeah. Actually, you can all roll an insight check if you want to.
Oof,
But
mine's
I'm
only a
sure
9.
William would be the person to do it. Sorry, only 9?
Only a 9. I think he's more impressed than
Yeah.
anything.
Oh, I rolled a dirty 20.
I rolled very poorly on my deception, so
Oh, even the 9 beats it?
yeah. So they all know. I was.
Okay. So Dorcas, you were at first quite happy to believe Duncan, because, I mean, why wouldn't you? But then when you see him operate, you spot a couple of items on his glove that have nothing to do with reliquaries whatsoever, or lockpicking. There's a little piece of wire, almost like a garrote type thing, just on his wrist. There's also a tiny little scalpel blade on the other side. That's got nothing to do with reliquaries. And William, hold on. That is not the lockpicking of a shambling cleric, old man, nice guy, who's... Oh, I've only done that like 3-4 times in my life. No, that is skillful.
So, Shepherd, do a lot of throat slitting up in the monastery, or...
I really don't remember us taking that class together during guard training. And I never missed a class.
Oh, this is purely in the realm of extracurricular over here.
He just smiles at Dorcas and said, I had a life before I was in the temple. I lived a little. And he just opens the door and be like, after you.
Click the
Mork,
door
you're not
spring.
secretly, like, I don't know, anything dangerous, concerning?
I'm a shepherd
I
of the
think I'm
Lightbringer
dangerous.
and a guard.
Sure. Yeah, okay, sure. So, Mork, back to whether or not you're some kind of terrifying eldritch fiend. I'm just trying to really suss out the playing field here now.
What's that line? A magician never reveals their tricks.
Terrifying. Okay. And then Will's just going to walk into the room.
You walk into the room and it's messy as fuck. It is classic
That
student
tracks.
dorm. Yeah. Of someone who is not used to not having a maid clean up after him. It is messy, it is dirty, it is filthy, there's plates, there's a bag, actually a little hemp bag with dirty plates because washing them is not a concept this boy is familiar with, so he just bags them all up, buys new stuff, I guess.
Ew.
There's a lot of books lying around as well, not exactly taken good care of. There's clothes, there's certainly some clothes that don't seem to belong to him, in terms of skirts, in terms of underwear, in terms of, happy student life sort of situation. There's also, and as you head closer in, there's another area, because it's not just one room, right? They're the rich kids. You have the big studio type flat apartment with kitchen area and the living room area, and then behind a little slidey door there's the bedroom. And when you open that up, yeah, definitely a necromancer. Definitely a necromancer. You see black candles, you see various vials and jars with items that are certainly goopy, maybe bloody. Possibly have to inspect that a little bit more closely.
Mork, I'm seeing a lot of you stuff over here, buddy. This is... Yep. Will's going to literally put his hands up and back away from it.
Perhaps we can shorten our time here, and I'm going to take out a symbol and say, perhaps Belenus would be so kind as to guide us in our search, and I'm going to cast Detect Magic.
Here you go.
Reasonable.
I would
Well,
like to
Duncan-
just...
What, Mark, what would you like to do?
Yeah, go ahead, Mork.
While Duncan's doing that, Mork is going to cast Enhance Ability on himself, but that's not on his list, so he's got to roll his Mizium Apparatus Arcana check.
Yeah.
So I need I need a 12.
Ah.
We good.
You're good.
Nice.
23. So I'm going to give myself advantage on intelligence ability checks, and I'm going to start investigating.
So, Dorcas, what did you want to do? Before we get
I
into the
just
results?
wanted to see if we had any small suspicious bottles with things floating around in them, so that maybe I could get to them and put them in the fanny pack before we decided to put fish food. Gotta limit the supply of fish food in the neighborhood here.
You would. I mean, a lot of items are suspicious. If you're not using any form of magic, then most likely Duncan and Mork will get to that before you do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because as soon as Duncan casts his holy symbol and the little amulet he has with the 4 wings of Belenus the Lightbringer flash, first in yellow, then in orange, then in red, waves of light illuminate the room, and while the light dissipates, a couple of items seem to be bathed in that light for a little bit longer. So let's start with are you doing that in the bedroom in particular, or in the
I would
area?
have tried to get to as central a location as possible. So if with a 30-foot range, I think I would probably focus on the bedroom. It being
Alright.
the most necro-y.
What did you roll on your investigation check, Mark?
Mork's doing really good. He got a 25.
Oof. So, same Mark, you also look at the bedroom in particular, and you find a couple of potions of sorts, and so you're like pointing out, oh, there they are. Okay, they're glimmering in light, and Duncan has covered, and then other things are glimmering in light, and you're like, okay, fine, I guess the cleric has this room. You head back out into the living room and check through that. No, it's that pizza carton. You move things aside. When you find a letter, and what catches your eye is that the paper itself is black, and the ink on it, icy white. It's stylish. It's definitely made to impress, and it is signed by Darian Drummond. We'll get to that letter in a second. Duncan, you find 3 magical potions. You cannot tell what they are, but they're definitely magical.
I'm gonna just put them under my cloak.
Yep. You find an amulet.
Do I recognize what is on the amulet?
Roll me an Arcana check.
Ooh, I'm not great at those. I think that's a straight roll. An 11.
You don't think this is a very complicated magical item. You think you've seen it before in some of the shops. It's shaped like a little... There's a couple of gears moving into each other. It's like a little clockwork. And you don't think it needs to be attuned to when you take it on, put it on. Oh, yeah, clockwork amulet. And out of character, it is a clockwork amulet, which basically means that once a day you can call a 10 on your roll and not roll. You have to call that before you roll, so it's, if you know a 13 hits, and with a 10 plus your modifiers, you definitely hit, it's quite helpful, but you also, of course, lose the chance of a crit.
I'm going to give that to Mork, our chief investigator.
All right.
What did you want to say, Mork?
I was just wondering if this was the normal one out of the book, because I happen to know that one only works on ability checks, not attack rolls.
The clockwork amulet says when you make an attack roll while wearing the amulet.
Okay, I just got that. My bad.
Xanathar.
Ignore me.
Nope.
Xanathar.
I'll
I
take it.
double-checked as well, but yeah, in Xanathar it's an attack roll, because it doesn't work on ability
Attack
checks.
rolls, I'm going to give it to I'm going to give it to Dorcas, our
Reasonable.
battle axe here.
Yeah.
Cool.
I am going to bring the potions over to Mork and hesitantly out of arm's reach of William and say, do you recognize these at all?
Wow. Not immediately, but fun potions. And he uncorks one, just dips a finger in, just give him a little taste.
Just be careful uncorking bottles. People who
And
get
it'll
hurt.
be okay.
Yeah, it's fairly easy. They're fairly standard potions of healing.
All right.
There are 3 of them?
You've made those in herbology class.
Interesting. Like these heal, the basic little guys.
Apart
I
from
wonder
that,
why
yeah.
Maybe you should
Also,
should have them.
Okay.
I just wonder why a necromancer would have 3 potions of healing hanging around unless he's getting bitten by his creations or slashed at. I mean, that body is kind of cranky, understandably, when you make them back up. Huh.
This town can get a little rough at times. It's not unreasonable to carry some healing potions with you.
I wonder
Plus, I
if the
think
healing
we've all,
potion-
ventured into the wrong graveyard once or twice, right? And dealt with undead abominations that we brought down. I'm going to assume that this story applies to only me. Never mind.
William, I only go to the right graveyards at the right time. So just think carefully.
Well, I mean,
about what
right
you want
time
to say next.
for what, is the kind of caveat there. Say those are healing potions, Mork. Can I have one?
So, just to be clear, we're allowed to just take these, right? That's how being a guard works? You just take whatever you want?
We're guards. We are the law.
This seems to
look
be
at
in
the
line
other
with our investigation. Plus, we never got in.
And it's medicinal.
And I was handed a necklace by a cleric. I don't know where he got that from, for all I know. Like, this is out of character. Dorcas is like, oh, Duncan decided to give me a shiny object. That's very nice.
Put that on.
So the
I found this letter. It's
amulet
fancy.
relates specifically to attack rolls, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
then it would also be that also suggests perhaps our friend here is a bit more violent than we were led to believe. Well, I suppose he was getting in bar fights, so denying him the ability to be effectively violent against us seems to be in our best interests.
Cleric uses reasoning. It's very effective.
How dare.
Wisdom. Hey, what do you got, Mark?
I hold
Some
up
kind of letter?
the fancy smanchy letter.
Yeah. Mork starts waving around the letter, and you've read it at this point as well. It's a very flowery language of someone who is wanting to impress, someone who is definitely easily impressed. It sort of, I have noticed your work and your promising career as a student of the necromantic arts. I'm quite intrigued by your abilities, and, well, possibly we could strike a deal. Possibly we could become business partners. I know they say you're too young, too brash for that, but honestly, I believe there needs to be a little bit of vim and vigor within a young entrepreneur to make it in this world. So really, really smooth talking, flashy language, trying to impress the young Rimple, trying to butter him up, if you will. Let's meet by the graveyard gate tomorrow night, and we can talk a little bit more about future endeavors. Signed,
Is there a date on this letter?
Darian Drummond.
Sorry.
There is not.
Ooh.
Is there a mailing address, from where it came from?
No, it is just the letter. You don't see an envelope, no wax and seal or anything. Just the letter itself.
I probably would have found
Well, first things
If it was
first, we can determine that this letter is all lies, because these are things that I would say. I don't read into that. It's obviously this is a trap.
William, you know that as guards, we're supposed to take honesty very, very seriously, right?
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
we talked about this, but we can trust you, right? You're not gonna, stab me in the back or something when I turn around, are you?
I would never stab anybody anywhere. I'm not a stabby guy. Ask anybody.
You're not gonna make me, walk drunk down the stairs like that lady. Speaking of, is she coming back? How long does that last? Does that last for the rest of her life? She always just sort of
No. I don't think so. No, I mean, it depends, I guess, on how,
You're going to be fine.
enthusiastically she follows the suggestion, because that's really all that it was a suggestion to go and be her best self. So are you saying you don't want her to be her best self? Because that sounds bad.
No, I just think maybe I don't want to be my best self like that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I hear you. Well, okay. Tell you what, I'll give you my word that I will never. You'll be fine. There you go.
I will remember that. Thank you.
Good. You do that.
I do have to agree with William. I find the contents of this letter to be very, very suspicious and unlikely. This appears to be somebody reassuring someone to get them to show up possibly as a trap. Maybe it's genuine, but people operating on these levels don't so readily embrace each other. It tends to be much more at arm's length.
And we all know that the best way to get somebody to do something that they don't want to do necessarily is to butter them up a little bit. You genius, handsome guardsmen than you. What do we do with
Well,
this?
even if it is meant to be a trap, I mean, who better to lie in wait and actually entrap the trappers than the trap-setting guards ourselves, right? Like, we could just go there. Exactly, and like wait for them to show up, and then be like, "Wow, you're under arrest!" You know, like hop out from behind a gravestone or something like that, and then be like, "I zone of truth you, reveal your diabolical schemes."
Where was the meeting again?
Like really.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Where was the meeting again?
At the graveyard.
At the graveyard.
Yeah, there's only one gate, one entrance.
Perhaps he is not gone yet. We would need to speak to the lady downstairs when the last time he was seen, because the fact that he left his amulet and his potions here suggests he did not think he was in any particular danger.
That's a good point.
That makes sense to me, though. I mean, based on this letter here, it says, you know, let's come and be friends. And you don't usually bring health pots to go see a friend, usually.
But the graveyard is an inherently dangerous place.
That's true.
The Grey Friars could be problematic if they were caught breaking in. You might want some of these if they caught you trying to break into the graveyard. So,
well, I mean, they wouldn't catch me, but I see what you're saying. Mork, any thoughts on this?
I have an idea. So, this was a pretty fancy letter, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would have a quite an adornment on the outside. I bet that when we go to whoever collects the mail, we might be able to ask them when it came, and then we could gauge if this is today or like tomorrow or if it was 2 days ago.
That is some solid thinking, Mork.
that's an excellent idea, Mork.
Illustrious dragon manager, might I be able to try to ascertain where this fancy-ass stationery came from with, say, a check using my forgery kit or a history?
Well, if you have a forgery kit, yeah, just have a look around whatever skill works best for you.
Sure.
Okay.
And because I still have enhanceability up, I get advantage on that.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you have forgery proficiency, then you would know your stationery. You know all about that washi tape stuff, scrapbooking.
All right. That is a dirty 20.
300 weight cold pressed watercolor paper.
Yeah.
You know it.
Fantasy
Yep.
equivalent to gel pens.
In fact, that paper is quite expensive in its own right. You know of a little stationery shop just off Southbridge that is usually only wedding invitations, birthday cards, important stuff by the city council for important anniversary meetings. It's not necessarily big. Possibly they would remember who bought that.
That's a good potential lead too. But so maybe if we find out whoever collects the mail here, they might remember seeing a really fancy envelope.
Okay.
Remember, you didn't
Let's
find an
certainly-
envelope there.
Just the letter.
This is true, we did not.
Just a letter.
I mean,
yeah.
or if they just recognize the black text folded up, like that would help too. It's
Mhm. It's
actually, it's likely it was like hand delivered, slipped under the door or something. Come to think of it.
then it might be even easier, depending though. I mean, that lady at the front desk sees everybody that comes in and out, right?
And
So we know that if
she is
she
a
didn't
big
see
fan of mine.
Yes. So we know if she didn't see somebody deliver this, then they probably got in through means magical or otherwise suspicious.
Wow.
Which means we can eliminate everyone non-magic and non-suspicious. And if you think about it, that's not that many people.
That's true.
It's really not.
That's like half of me.
Well, someone delivering this letter could have been invisible, but it could have just had it in a pocket so no one would see it. So,
Or an invisible pocket. Like there's just too many variations here.
exactly. So maybe the shop might work out.
So should
you're
we ask the
heading-
lady up front and then head out?
Might as well chat with her briefly.
Yeah. And I propose if we have no further leads, we should still plan to stake out the graveyard tonight on the off chance that we might see somebody trying to sneak in or out, and then maybe we could figure out what our plan is to follow them, see where they go, establish a pattern, all that good stuff.
Very sensible. I like it.
So you're heading down where the receptionist is still sort of in a little bit of a haze, happily whistling to herself. And are you asking her when she'd last seen the guy?
Yeah, Will kind of like sort of like put his hands out to like let the others know to let him approach her since she's still under the effect of his charm. It lasts a full hour. I'm assuming we weren't in the room that long, although I probably should have asked first. But he'll go up to her and just be like, "Hey, so
Hi.
glad to see that you're still here because I have yet more use of your all impressive abilities."
She giggles a little. Oh, that, if I can help you, that would be my pleasure, really.
Well, let's just get this out of the way. You just being here and talking to me, that's the most helpful thing you can do. But the second most helpful thing you can do is tell me everything you know about this letter, and then I'll take it from Mork and pass it over.
Oh. I'm so sorry. I don't know anything about this.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Did I disappoint you? I'm so sorry.
No, not at all, because you saying that you don't know anything is you telling me everything you know about it, and that's exactly what I asked. So you did great.
I'm glad.
You did so great. You did the best. You know what? The very best. I'm going to write letters. People need to know about this.
Great. She is besotted, I think is the word. And super happy that you're super happy, because that's what magic does. It's fucked up. And
Yep.
you're heading down to the
For
stationery
the
shop.
record, you don't even need to look. You can just feel Duncan's disapproval. Like,
Oh, it's like
Special
burning
help.
holes in the back of Will's skull for sure. Like, it is there.
Dorcas is
Will
100% sweating over how unethical all of this is, but she also doesn't want to further alarm this lady that's crying over a disappointing failure to identify stationery. So, sort of awkwardly, like, becoming hot under the collar about it.
Will take both of her hands in his and clasp them tight and say, "You were such a joy today. Thank you so much. Maybe we'll come and see you again if we need any more follow-up."
Anytime, you can come back anytime. And if Master Rimple comes back, I will surely let him know that you were here.
That's great. Did you get a card from Dorcas?
I did. It says guards.
Perfect. That's all you need to know. Just yell
Nothing
that.
else, I guess. But
Yep.
I'm sure he'll be back soon.
Great. And when he does, the sooner he comes back and the sooner you let us know, the sooner we can hang out again together. You know what? Maybe let's play some cards next time. You know, how do you feel about cribbage?
So great.
Great.
And I, just in case, and she writes down the medieval equivalent of her number, I guess. Like,
can Duncan
Paradise.
intercept that as it's being handed off?
Latitude and longitude coordinates.
yeah, no, it's like, we could meet up in this pub at some point. This is where I usually am on Friday evenings after work. If you wanted to stop by.
Tell you what, if I see you at the pub and you see me at the pub, say hi. Let's have a drink together. First one's on me, second one's on you, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Bye.
See ya. What a helpful lady. And then will just kind of supposedly lead the way and start walking away.
He still has that piece
So-
of paper in his hand, Duncan, if you want to go. Nope.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna like try to pluck it.
Yeah. Are you letting him?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. William, this sort of magic is not unknown, but there's a line with it. And there's a very, very special place in hell for the people who cross that line.
Sure, yeah. I hear you. I agree, Shepard, full-heartedly. That line, though, is, it makes a great bridge if you know where to step. It takes you a lot of places.
Just kind of like eye contact, and then just like goes to walk next to Dorcas. And he's going to sacred flame just in his own hand to ignite the little piece of paper as they walk.
Dorcas is just muttering under her breath, I do not know how we are going to explain that away in paperwork.
How you holding up, Mork?
I'm a little. I don't think I understand. I thought guards were supposed to be the epitome of honesty, and that seemed pretty criminally unethical based on my studies.
We don't have to be the epitome of honesty, Mork. We just have to be the good guys, and he'll give Mork a little pat on the shoulder.
But it says right here, and then Dorcas like pulls out of the fanny pack because of course he's literally carrying around the like manual. It says these are the things that we're supposed to do: honesty, courage, compassion, honor, duty. Honesty's number one. We have to at least try.
Okay, I'll be honest.
Well, you tried.
Did you even read that handbook, William?
There were pages, letters on them in many orders. Yeah.
Do you need an extra copy?
You know what? I think I left mine somewhere. I'm sure it'll turn up.
You know what? Just take this extra one. It's always good to go over and like refresh your memory before you go to sleep. It helps you like memorize things better if you read stuff you're trying to remember before you fall asleep.
You know what? Actually, hang on. And then Will's gonna like reach into his robe and cast minor illusion and create an illusion of the pamphlet, and then just hold up his hand. You know what? I found mine. We're good. Thank you, though. Super helpful.
Does it look real?
Roll me an intelligence check.
I'm literally just curious because intelligence is not my strong suit, so I'm kind of
You can also
curious.
insight just because you've seen William do that shit before and you know how it works.
I'll investigate it.
Yeah.
We're all just like,
Dang it, Mork.
Dorcas rolled a 16.
Oof.
So, what was your save DC, William?
My spell save DC is only a 15.
oh yeah.
So I think that like she's still like, but she's willing to give him the benefit of the doubt since he conjured up an illusion of the pamphlet and not like the middle finger or guard's equivalent. So she's just like, okay, he wants to try.
Yeah.
He tries.
You can clearly tell that letter, the pamphlet, is fake-ish. Because there's scribbles on it that make no sense, and there's a little stick figure drawing of Tallullah Thundertongue, the guard captain, screaming. So there are the words honesty, compassion, hygiene, whiskey, whatever he could come up in his mind at that moment.
Just the word medicinal over and over.
The word medicinal. And as Dorcas sort of narrows her eyes a little bit and is very definitely knowing that William's full of shit, and Mork is also knowing that William's full of shit, but not entirely sure what to do about that. You're making your way down the stairs out of the dorm towards the stationery to look at who sent the letter, where could you possibly find it, or maybe see to the graveyard and to the monks there whether Darian and what was his name, Rimple, have already shown up there, or what could we do next. As you discuss, we are going to come to an end to today's session, but we're going to continue with that next week on a Wednesday, Because today we've made friends, and today we've almost died unexpectedly for everyone, thanks chat. And today we found out that everyone's full of shit, especially William. No,
Just
no,
full of
Mork.
medicine.
You're a perfect angel, and nobody could ever hate you because you're
That's
adorable.
right.
Everyone's adorable. This is so wholesome, like surprisingly wholesome. But I hope you had fun with that as well. Yeah, Dorcas is a little bit on the, oh god, what am I here? Why am I with these people? What is this guy doing in particular?
That's
How's
great.
Dorcas? How are you feeling about the game and the everything, really?
Oh,
Hope you had a little bit
fantastic.
of fun. Yeah, and the shrubbery is still alive and growing. How's
Thank
Mork
goodness.
been feeling about his new comrades?
Mork is very bewildered because this is very different than the experience he expected, but he's still enjoying it. Also, William kind of implied he's cool and said he could call him a friend, which is like almost kind. So, pretty good.
That's, yeah, I mean, for lowish standards,
Mork has
William-
very low standards.
William, are you okay with being the troublemaker of the group so far?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This was going to happen from the minute I rolled up School of Illusion, so this is great.
It's
Amazing.
amazing.
And is Duncan losing faith in the ginger man?
No, he's seen a little seed of good in him that just needs to be properly cultivated. And my goodness, Dorcas and Mork are just adorable. They're just like so nice and like. Well, Mork's showing a little bit. Maybe there's something going on there. But Dorcas is just so enthusiastic and positive that he doesn't want anything to ruin that.
No, nothing will ruin that. Nobody will die.
Yeah.
The graveyard is not full of horrible things.
Exactly.
She totally
Everything's gonna be
won't
great.
wind up with a backstory filled with tragic shrub dismemberment or anything like that.
That was close. That was, yeah.
I'm just putting it out there so it doesn't happen.
I also
I'm
really
not
like how
trying
the
to.
fault for that fell on Chat and not on Will for pickpocketing it in the first place. So that's
Well, because the reason you got it pickpocketed in the first place, because Tallullah would probably normally keep an eye on it, because, you know, she's been around the block. But because Chat gave us the boon, I thought, like, yeah, this fits quite well. And then the Bane, and it's like, yeah, that works. The boon turns into the Bane. See what I did there?
give it
Anyway.
and take it away.
Yep.
We're going to... Yeah. We're going to continue next week with that. Until then, of course, we're all on Twitter, and we all have our other projects as well. So, Dorcas, Anna, would you like to tell us where we can find you, what you do in your spare time, how you live through the apocalypse at the moment, and you know, if there's any projects you want to share?
Yeah, for sure. In addition to streaming this game, I'm also streaming in Dead Winter, which is a City of Mists game that's happening over on Chromatic Chimera on Fridays. We have done one episode so far where we are playing as people with legendary mythoses living inside of us, kind of like a superhero noir thing. So you can check that out on Fridays if you want. Other than that, you can find me on Twitter at Emiria941. I also have a YouTube channel where I make videos about books and TTRPGs and stuff. That's just my name, Anna Goldberg. I'm running a disability-centric readathon over there on YouTube and on Twitter. So if you want to learn more about that, check out the YouTube video announcements.
Duncan or Tom, where can we find you usually? I mean,
So you
other
can
than
find
in
me-
your P-
You can find me on Twitter at TP_Grant. I am also in about 3 hours going to be playing on the Master of the Game channel in YouTube in the Forgotten Throne campaign, where I play Renmore, a half-orc fighter. This Friday, internet willing, the internet infrastructure in the U.S. is just awesome, especially with everybody being online all the time now. But I'm going to be DMing a mini arc. We're going to be going through one of the Wildmount campaign book adventures, trying that out, and our wonderful DM is going to be a player in that. And that's what I have coming up this week.
Nat, Mork's dancing. What is
Hi.
Nat doing?
Hi, I'm Nat. You can find me on Twitter at CrimeNat. I do TTRPG design. I'm also a freelance layout designer and editor. Hire me. That's the motion I do every time I say that. You can find me over on Chromatic Chimera on Mondays. We're just wrapping up Dead Skies by Night, but that crew, that team's known as No Initiative, will be starting our next campaign very shortly. I'm also going to be running this month's Meat Grinder for Encounter Roleplay on April 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. To sign up, you need to put a character in the Discord channel and be prepared to share how they recently were deceased. I don't know if there's a record for most kills in a Meat Grinder, but I'm going for it.
Nice.
All right.
I'd like to see that actually happen. And William, Jesse.
Hello.
Your deal?
My deal is that I am I'm just kidding. I am up to a lot of nonsense usually. You can find me on Sundays playing in the Last Air campaign on the Cobalt Press channel, which is a lot of fun. Besides that, I do tons of freelance design work. I'm doing my first couple of forays into independent design stuff for DM's Guild and whatnot. That's going to be out a little bit later this week. And I wrote a book. Ooh, it's this one. Comes in soft and hard covers. And if you like D&D, Terrible People, and Garbage Illusionist Wizards, you might like the book because they're all in there. So It is called The Grave Robber's Sword, and I recommend you check it out.
Wait, am I plagiarizing without knowing? Grave robbing and body snatching and with illusion wizards, like.
You might be.
Huh. All right.
You got a
Anyway.
talking star point? I mean, I'm just.
We'll find out more about that next week. I'm Lydia. I'm Half-Hour's Hermit here, and you can find me all over Encounter Roleplay usually. And yeah, I might also be doing a Meat Grinder either at the end of this month or May. Plus, of course, here, any questions about the campaign, about Scotland, about whiskey, hey, let me know. And I would also like to mention someone who's not playing, but who was so graciously helping us make our characters, and that's Gabe. James Gabe, you've probably seen him on the Zweihander campaign. He is bloody amazing, not just as a cosplayer, as a human being, but also as someone who's quite aware of how there's some problems with D&D and how characters are made, how the races in particular are sometimes more limiting than freeing and enabling. And we decided to go with something he came up with class modifiers that have the skill points that you usually get from your racial traits and your racial features coming from the class, which also enables the role-playing factor a little bit, helps people who are not as well versed in D&D as our lovely folks here are get into it and understand a little bit more about where their character is coming from. So please do check him out on Twitter, on itch.io, and look at these classes, the CMM classes, because they're bloody amazing, let's be honest, and he's doing great work. Thank you so much as well for everyone who's still watching on YouTube. Oh yes, I know, it's a thing. For joining us again, and hopefully we'll see you back next week. Thanks to our sponsors, and thanks to Charlie for giving us this lovely opportunity to take the city of Eden into the bigger world. Stay tuned for a little trailer for what's on tomorrow. That's Death is Curious, tomorrow at 4 p.m. EDT. And of course we have Star Trek on Friday. We've got Seawalt back again, finally, with Dawn jamming on Friday as well. Check out the casting calls, the meat grinders, all of that in our Discord. And see you next week. Thank you. Bye.